I was originally the only daughter of the Shao family, one of the four great families. But unexpectedly, I, who had been sickly since childhood, during a surgery, transmigrated into a novel I hadn't finished reading. In this fictional world where magic reigned supreme, I ended up becoming a princess without any magical powers. My memories were pulled back to the original plot of the novel. On the judgment platform, no one sympathized with this princess convicted of a serious crime, who was about to be beheaded. As the great sword fell, the princess's story ended. As a spectator, I sighed that this villain had finally gone offline. The story reached this point, and I was pushed into the operating room. But I didn't expect that during this surgery, I would transmigrate and become this villainous princess. A useless princess called the Empire's shame. Aphilo lost her right of succession due to her lack of magical power, which also made her temperament become tyrannical and overbearing. She spent her whole life envying the female protagonist in the novel. In the end, for the sake of power and position, she used a bowl of poison to send her own father to the afterlife. Afterwards, the truth was exposed, and she lost her life. Just as I was going crazy, wondering why I had to become such a tragic villain character, the king, who is my father, came over. My father is a legendary figure. He is the youngest emperor of the Ruthless Empire. He ascended to the throne at 19, conquered in all directions for just 10 years, and doubled the territory of the country. Under his rule, the empire reached unprecedented prosperity. Such a person, yet he had a face as beautiful as a god. His name is Eritova. My father is an extremely imposing person, born with charisma, exceptionally strict with everyone and everything. Yet he makes an exception for his daughter. No matter whose fault it is, it's never his daughter's fault. The book describes him as a cold-blooded tyrant, but he is extremely gentle and loving towards his daughter. The person brought here by the servants for failing to protect the princess is a prince from a neighboring country. Born with black hair and red eyes, he was seen as inauspicious, sent to our country as a hostage at the age of 10, becoming a guard in our country, enduring great humiliation. In the novel, he offended the princess at 12 and was sent back, after which there was no more content about him. He was a minor character who appeared in just a few chapters. Although it wasn't written in the book, his fate can be easily imagined. What good end could an expelled hostage have? At this moment, Vidi looked at the princess with a terrifying gaze. Vidi's direct stare at the princess angered the king. He was sentenced to death by the king. His country would also suffer a devastating disaster because of this. This person, who had done nothing wrong, had no room for resistance, because no one dared to defy the emperor's will. In this palace, everyone lived in fear. In this world, there was no fairness or human rights. The law was replaced by the ruling class. Even if the monarch was tyrannical, no one dared to resist. If Vidi dies because of me today, if a war breaks out because of me, wouldn't I also become one of these numb, cowardly people? No, it's not like that, Father Emperor. It was my own carelessness. It's not his fault. Please spare him. I've transmigrated into a villainous, supporting character. How should I save myself? I quickly accepted the fact of transmigration and gradually adapted to the life of a princess. For me, perhaps this was a blessing. I, who had been sickly since childhood, became a princess through transmigration, which could be considered as gaining lifelong health. The princess's life was much more ordinary than I had imagined. Except for that day, when I saved Vidi, no one could have imagined that I would defy a tyrant in front of so many people. Fortunately, Father Emperor didn't dwell on this matter. But thinking back to Father Emperor's expression, I still feel very scared. Based on my observations during this time, since I transmigrated, the original owner's personality was even worse than described in the book. Almost no one in the entire palace dared to talk to me. Even my personal maid was wary of me. If that's the case, let's start with the closest person. I reached out my hand to help Vidi up and expressed that I would never hit or scold him again. I wanted everyone to change their perception of me. But unexpectedly, Vidi stood up by himself. This scene was accidentally witnessed by the butler. Butler Taminir was the only one in the original story who stood by Aphilo's side from beginning to end. This person would do whatever Aphilo said. When everyone sided with the female lead, only he always stood by Aphilo's side. He even sacrificed his life for Aphilo. Taminir and Vidi had a very bad relationship. They would quarrel whenever they met, glaring at each other. Near brought me a piece of intelligence about Father Emperor's illegitimate daughter, my sister. That is, Emma Glow, the female lead of this novel. Rumor has it that when the Emperor was young, he had a child with the daughter of a wealthy merchant. Shortly after Emma's birth, the merchant family encountered misfortune. The infant Emma disappeared without a trace. The lost Princess Emma was raised as a commoner, but it couldn't erase the nobility of her royal bloodline. Emma, brought back to the palace, quickly became the praised crown princess. Even the cold-blooded tyrant emperor was melted by Emma, who was as warm as sunshine. Almost everyone liked Emma, except for the original Aphilo. Like most novels, hidden characters are usually used to highlight the female lead. Those characters who plot against the female lead usually don't end well. The head of these cannon fodder, among cannon fodder, is Aphilo, the owner of this body I'm in now. Aphilo was originally the Empire's only princess, but lost favor due to the female lead's appearance. One is the gentle and kind female lead. The other is the willful and spoiled supporting character. The outcome is, of course, predictable. In the original story, whenever Aphilo appeared, she was opposing the female lead, eventually losing her father's love step by step, heading towards a dead end. So, as long as I stay away from the female lead, there shouldn't be any problems, right? But will things really go that smoothly? I've transmigrated into the villainous supporting character. I decided to get along well with the female lead and change my fate. For some reason, although I know that I will eventually be executed because of this long-lost sister and be put to death, but hearing that the female lead is about to appear, I actually feel a little bit excited. The butler thought I would be angry about my sister's appearance, but unexpectedly, I said I wanted to get along well with this suddenly appeared sister. However, the butler seems to have misunderstood what I meant by getting along well. What kind of expression is this? I didn't mean for you to take action against her. Before I could finish speaking, the butler had already started planning how to scheme against the female lead. Indeed, it's exactly the same personality as in the original story, always wanting to stand up for Aphilo. Although it's touching, ignoring the female lead's halo is asking for death. But if we don't make plans early, what will happen if the butler leaves his words half said? Why do we need to plan early? I looked at everyone, wanting to get an answer. But unexpectedly, everyone's expressions were very unpleasant. They all looked like they wanted to say something, but held back. You don't seem to know what will happen. The atmosphere became very heavy after Vidi finished speaking. Seeing that I still didn't understand, Vidi could only tell me. It turns out that because I'm a child of the royal family, if I can't become the victor, then I'm bound to meet a bad end. Becoming a loser in the royal struggle, like Vidi, yes, Vidi, didn't do anything wrong either. Just because of his natural hair and eyes, he was branded with a curse, stripped of his heir status, and exiled to another country. Such absurd reasons can cause a prince to meet with disaster. Let alone me, a princess viewed as the empire's shame. The butler sensed my unease. He said he would definitely protect me well. Seeing me silent, he immediately glared at Vidi, calling you a blabbermouth. Seeing everyone's worried looks, I had to speak up. I understand. I'll make preparations in advance. But not that kind of preparation. I finally have a healthy body. This time, I just want to live a peaceful life. But after all, this is a world where even the law is imperfect, and a small mistake could cost you your life. I seem to have little control over my fate. No way. I can't give up like this. I'm going to start making plans right now. I must change this miserable fate. All right. I've finished writing. The princess has gone crazy. Transmigrated into the villainous witch princess. To save my life, I've made a self-rescue plan. Want to know what my plan is? Come and see. After a bout of intense writing, even my personal maid thought I had gone mad. But my self-rescue plan was born just like that. With a thud, I collapsed on the table. Just planning the weekly schedule has already exhausted me. Just the history of this country will take a lot of time to study. And to become a qualified princess, what needs to be learned is not just book knowledge. It seems I'm more suited to learning instruments, like how to beat a hasty retreat. But I should cheer up. As the saying goes, master math, physics, and chemistry, and you'll fear nothing in the world. Although there's no math, physics, or chemistry here, reading more books is never wrong. Suddenly, memories of the original owner appeared in my mind. Her previous study memories were almost equivalent to not learning at all. Even the homework was written by Vidi. It seems I need a tutor. After looking around, it turns out only Vidi is suitable to be a teacher. In the days that followed, with Vidi's help, I finally caught up with the courses I had fallen behind on. I expressed my gratitude to Vidi. Although Vidi still had the same sour face as before, he was much more competent than I had expected. As for etiquette lessons, Butler Neil helped find another teacher, the Duchess of Caroline, renowned for her elegance. Soon, my etiquette was passable. Besides this, as a princess, I had many more things to learn. I thought being a princess meant eating, drinking, and having fun. I didn't expect it to be this hard. However, while my previous body was prone to illness, after transmigrating into a princess, I no longer had such concerns. I could eat recklessly without worry. And then I gained weight. A lot of weight. Hetty began to ban sweets from appearing in my palace. My only joy was gone. Looks like I'll have to use this trick. Looking pitiful. Afternoon tea, specially prepared for your highness. Just for today, okay? Hetty, you truly are the kindest woman in the empire. This is too blissful. While I was indulging in sweets, I saw Vidi staring blankly out the window. It turns out people were flying kites outside. Seems Vidi wants to fly a kite too. Hey, let's go play in the garden. Because the princess needs to change clothes to go out. The two who were kicked out were quarreling. Hua Xiaoluo just ran out. Isn't she so cute? Vidi's face turned red watching her. The butler, seeing these two being lovey-dovey, immediately blocked Vidi. He wouldn't let them continue. Your highness wants to fly kites, right? I've already had them prepare everything in the garden for you. I transmigrated into the Villainess supporting character. To save myself, I launched a series of plans, but I didn't expect a female lead to appear early. Butler Neil had prepared everything. When entering the garden, Vidi and Neil started their eye battle again. What deep grudge do these two have? The sunlight in the garden was perfect. Everything was bright and beautiful. We enjoyed this rare, wonderful moment. At first, my kite flew the highest. Unexpectedly, Vidi surpassed mine. Neil, of course, wouldn't allow such a thing to happen. With a quick release of the string, he used his own kite to knock Vidi's down. What? Do you two have to compete, even in kite flying? I never thought Neil, who was cold and emotionless in the novel, actually had such an adorable personality. Just as everyone was immersed in the joy of kite flying, my kite string broke. The kite floated down gently. To avoid disturbing everyone's rare good mood, I decided to go pick it up myself. Without waiting for their objections, I ran out on my own. After a while of searching, I finally found the kite on top of a pavilion. But who was that person inside the pavilion? This is the palace specially built by the emperor for me to live in. Apart from my attendants and the emperor, no outsiders have ever entered. The silhouette of this girl seems familiar somehow. Could it be the female lead? Oh, according to the novel's plot, the female lead wasn't supposed to appear for another half year. Why is she here early? Watching the female lead arranging flowers in the pavilion, I felt very nervous. I wasn't prepared for this. Since we weren't supposed to meet this early in the original story, I'll just quietly leave. On my way back, I stepped on a twig. Sure enough, the female lead heard me. She turned her head towards me. As expected of the female lead, her whole being was beautiful, as if glowing. Hello, it's over. Oh no, she's talking to me. I had no choice but to turn around and greet her. Finally seeing the female lead's true face. It's so infuriating. Even her hair strands seem to have a natural part. Life is so unfair. She gently curtsied to me. Princess, this is too beautiful. I'm going to fall for her. The author is really unfair. The female lead's appearance is blinding my eyes. Even I, the vicious villain, can't help but be moved. How will the story unfold from here? Unwise's whole body was shining with a golden light. Every smile and frown was captivating, and those eyes, identical to the emperor's. She is the empire's long-lost princess, Emma Glow. But why is she appearing here at this time? I couldn't figure it out. Which part of the plot went wrong? She also noticed my confusion. She asked me what was wrong. I was too embarrassed to speak. It's nothing. I'm just curious. Why are you here? Your Highness knows me. Emma's face lit up with joy. Those eyes are unique to the royal family. I told the truth. My expression wasn't very pleasant, staring at Emma, just as the tension was about to rise. Emma spoke. I had planned how to introduce myself to the princess, but it seems unnecessary now. The flowers here are blooming beautifully. I picked some particularly pretty ones and arranged them. As Emma spoke, she walked back to the pavilion table, picked up the flower she had just arranged, and walked towards me. I thought this could be a gift for our first meeting. I hope you like it. In the novel, everyone loved her, and it wasn't without reason. Listen to how beautifully she speaks. She's really too gentle. If she weren't the female lead, maybe being friends with her wouldn't be so bad. Seeing that I kept staring at the flower arrangement without speaking, she asked again if I didn't like it. I was about to object when I heard the voice of the butler Neil from behind. "Borrowing your highness's flowers to give to your highness. Miss Emma." What a lovely gift indeed. I saw that both Neil and Vidi had come over. Neil continued, "This is the palace built by His Majesty for your highness. Apart from attendants and His Majesty, no one else is allowed to enter without permission. How did you get in here?" The two looked sternly at Emma, completely unaffected by the female lead's beauty. Vidi's face was even more gloomy. He asked what her intentions were for trespassing into the princess's palace. Emma was suddenly at a loss for words. She could only hurriedly explain, "I'm sorry. I didn't know this was your highness's palace. I saw the beautiful flowers blooming here and thought I'd come in to pick some as a gift for your highness," Father said. At this point, she paused. Then she lowered her head and continued dejectedly, His Majesty allowed me to freely enter and exit the palace. I thought this place was also somewhere I could enter." "I see. Because Emma hasn't been formally introduced yet. She can't call the Emperor father yet. Father Emperor is actually a princess who has been wandering outside since childhood, enduring cold looks and bullying. It's quite pitiful when you think about it." At this moment, Father Emperor's voice was heard. "Why are you here?" Unexpectedly meeting the female lead, my illegitimate sister, in advance. The Emperor happened to pass by. This is also the first meeting between the female lead and the Emperor. I wonder what will happen. Continuing from where we left off, we looked towards a voice. The handsome Emperor had just walked out. Why did he come? Heidi, can you not look so infatuated? This is the Emperor, you know." Realizing something was off, Heidi quickly ran in front of me and asked if I'd found my kite. All right, I pointed to where the kite had fallen. I was so shocked by Emma's appearance that I forgot I came to find my kite. The Emperor looked around, then looked at Emma. Oh my, in the novel, this is the famous scene where the female lead meets the Emperor. I'm ready to watch the drama unfold. Father Emperor and Emma looked at each other for a while. The atmosphere was so delicate, but they don't speak. How will the plot develop? This perspective. Even 6D movies don't dare to be this immersive. Then I saw the female lead open her mouth. Here it comes. The big moment is here. So exciting, so exciting. The Emperor glared sternly at Emma. Emma's Father Emperor was swallowed back. She only managed to say, "Your Majesty." Father Emperor, completely disregarding Emma's current low spirits, said, "I told you to stay in your palace and study during this time." Emma kept apologizing. The Emperor then sent someone to take her back. How did it turn out like this? I hadn't even processed it yet. How did the plot development become so surreal? The Emperor knelt down in front of me and, stroking my head, asked if I knew everything now. At that moment, I felt a hint of grievance in my heart. I clenched my fist and nodded slightly. The Emperor glanced at Emma again. Then he took my hand and started walking. While walking, he warned Emma that without his permission, she was not allowed to appear before the princess. This plot is too abstract, right? Someone please save me. I've transmigrated into a novel. After transmigrating, the plot is becoming more and more abstract. First, I met the female lead from the book ahead of time. Then I witnessed the Emperor neglecting the female lead. The female lead who was greatly loved by the Emperor in the original book was actually neglected. What's going on here? Sitting in the study, looking at the vase of flowers Emma brought, my mind was in a complete mess. Was Emma trying to be nice to me? But why? It's so frustrating. I can't figure it out. In a few days, everything from the novel will begin. Princess Emma's recognition ball. At that time, Emma will be formally introduced to everyone. She'll be adored and become the imperial princess, while I will be ignored. I'll be disliked by everyone for my resentment and jealousy. I can't let all this happen. Although the female lead appeared early, it doesn't affect my plan. Now all that's left is the dance. For the sake of my life, I must change my image in others' minds. I want to find Neil, wanting him to practice dancing with me. But I didn't expect Neil to be out. However, Heidi told me that Vidi would do just as well. Although I knew Vidi could also dance. After all, he is a prince. But why is this atmosphere so awkward? Just as I was hesitating, wondering whether to wait for Neil to return to practice, Vidi stepped forward. "Your Highness, may I have the honor of inviting you to dance?" Of course, I feel that the dance in this world isn't much different from the waltz in my previous life. I was a young lady before, after all. This is quite easy for me to pick up. Speaking of which, Vidi, a character as handsome as the male lead. Why did he disappear right after his appearance? A character like this should either be an important supporting role or the final big villain. Heidi once mentioned, Vidi is also a special existence in their country. Black hair and red eyes. It's a bit like the vampires described in my previous life. Lost in thought, I stepped on Vidi's foot. Vidi noticed that my mind wasn't on the dance. He advised me to focus. As we were feeling awkward, Neil returned. He asked why I didn't wait for him to practice. I told Neil that Vidi's teaching was quite good. I completely forgot that Vidi and I were still holding hands at that moment. Vidi let go of my hand, bowed to me, and said, "Since Lord Neil has returned, I'll take my leave now." As he left, he exchanged glances with the butler again. Strange, when he let go of my hand, why did I feel a sense of loss? The royal ball, glasses clinking. The beloved elder sister officially recognized. How should I, with my bad reputation, conduct myself? The day of the ball finally arrived. The weather was bright and sunny. Ladies wore gorgeous dresses, riding in luxurious carriages, arriving one after another at the imperial palace to attend this banquet. Inside the palace, Vidi was standing guard at the princess's door, as usual. But as he stood there, Aphilo appeared in his mind. She was so adorable. No, what am I doing? At this moment, Aphilo was still sound asleep in her room. She was suddenly awakened by butler Neil. As Aphilo was wondering what was happening, Neil directly summoned a group of maids to dress the princess. The scene was like they were about to arrest Aphilo. Frightened, Aphilo kept backing away. She screamed in shock, "Vidi, save me!" Vidi, standing at the door, only heard a series of clanging noises from inside. Hearing Aphilo call for him, he was about to go in immediately, but he was stopped by Heidi. He couldn't help. Just then, Emma walked over. Today, Emma was dressed particularly beautifully. Indeed, the female lead's outfit wouldn't disappoint. After the usual greeting, Emma asked Vidi, "Why are you here? Shouldn't Princess Aphilo need your help?" Emma approached Vidi. Her movement was clearly carefully designed. Her big eyes stared directly at Vidi. Startled, Vidi quickly retreated a meter away. "Thank you for your concern, Princess Emma. You're passing by here, so you must have a key, right? It's Father Emperor who asked me to..." Emma's words were interrupted by a nearby guard. It's unclear what the guard said to Emma, but she hurriedly left. Watching Emma's retreating figure, Vidi fell into deep thought. Heidi said, "It feels like she just came for you." Who knows? Inside the room, Aphilo was also struggling with her clothes. Due to her recent indulgent eating, the previously tailored gown was now difficult to button up. Under the maid's direction, she took a deep breath and barely managed to fasten the buttons. The maids were so moved, they almost started dancing. The foreign princess woke up and seemed like a different person. Eating recklessly, she gained 20 pounds before the ball. She almost couldn't fit into her custom-made gown. Continuing from last time, with the joint efforts of Aphilo and the maids, they finally managed to put on the gown. The butler hesitated to speak. Aphilo quickly waved her hand. "I know, I won't eat too much again." She absolutely couldn't let the butler know she secretly ate an ice cream yesterday. At this moment, Heidi brought Vidi in. I didn't expect Princess Aphilo to be dressed so gorgeously. Heidi directly said, "Your Highness is just like the muse goddess." Such exaggerated praise made Aphilo suddenly feel insecure. "If you don't believe me, you can ask Lord Vidi." Aphilo peeked out and asked Vidi, "Is it really beautiful?" Vidi was already stunned, staring at her intently. "Very beautiful." Suddenly realizing something was off, he quickly turned his head away. Aphilo was very happy hearing this, and quickly turned to ask Neil. Neil looked for a long time, and then blurted out, "Very similar." "Ah, similar to whom?" Neil replied, "Nothing. It's time to leave." Did Neil just say very similar? Similar to what? Ah, forget it. Don't think about it. The upcoming ball is the main event. Arriving at the ball venue, it was just as imagined. Gorgeous crystals, various pastries, and nobles chatting with each other. At this moment, a guard announced loudly, "Duke Widowas enters." Everyone turned to look at the newcomer. After a round of greetings, people began to discuss the true purpose of this ball. It is said it was to publicly announce the long-lost eldest princess. They also said that since the eldest princess returned to the palace, the little princess hasn't been seen in public. A sharp, sarcastic voice rang out. "Who told her to be so useless? She's a worthless waste. I think this ball is held for the eldest princess. The little princess probably won't have a chance to shine anymore." While everyone was discussing, the emperor was also preparing to depart. He turned and asked, "Are you ready?" After receiving an affirmative response, he took the other person's small hand. The bell rang. The empire's emperor entered with his most beloved princess. Everyone turned to look at the emperor, wondering which princess he would bring to the event. The hall bell rang. Amidst the clinking of glasses, this ball, filled with undercurrents, officially began. Whispering noblewomen, a duke deep in thought, the imposing emperor. What exactly awaited Aphilo at this ball? The emperor finally entered. At today's ball, which princess the emperor brings with him indicates who will be the protagonist of today's event. Everyone watched where the emperor would emerge, curious to see which princess would receive this honor. To be blunt, they all wanted to see Aphilo fall out of favor. But unexpectedly, the one who slowly walked out was the gorgeously dressed Aphilo. After everyone bowed, they couldn't help but whisper among themselves, how could it be this useless princess? But after being glared at by the emperor's gloomy eyes, the entire hall fell silent. Seeing this scene, Aphilo couldn't help but marvel at the emperor of the First Empire. A single glance could intimidate a crowd. Faced with such a crowd, Aphilo couldn't help but feel nervous and start trembling. The emperor noticed Aphilo's unease. He gripped Aphilo's hand even tighter, gently telling Aphilo not to mind those people. He's worried about me. This cold-blooded and cruel person in the novel is extremely gentle towards his daughter. Even until his death, he never resented Aphilo. How could the original owner bear to part with such a good person? This life, let me be your daughter. Under everyone's gaze, the emperor, holding the little princess's hand, sat on the chair representing the royal family. At the same time, he also announced Emma's existence. The crowd was in an uproar. This long-lost princess was so beautiful. The music started. The ball officially began. The nobles gracefully danced in the ballroom. The clinking of wine glasses exuded elegance. This was the symbol of royal wealth. Emma mingled effortlessly among the crowd. As for Aphilo, she sat high up on the chair reserved for royalty, eating desserts. It's so boring. Although I'm a princess, I was told not to go down and socialize with those people. In contrast, Emma was chatting and laughing with people, very popular. Everyone thought this eldest princess was gentle and kind, and beautiful too, while I was the one everyone avoided, because everyone thought the little princess was spoiled and willful and violent too. Everyone tried to avoid this little princess. This can't go on. I must salvage my image. Both of us are princesses, but everyone likes Sister Emma, because Sister is gentle, kind, and beautiful, while I'm spoiled, willful, and violent. But that's not the truth. Today at this ball, I want to prove to everyone that I'm not what they imagine. I became more anxious as I sat in the chair thinking. Father Emperor also noticed something was off with me. He leaned down and asked what was wrong. I smiled and answered that it was nothing. But actually, I was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. If I keep sitting here, my plan for comeback might fail. At this moment, a guard came over and reported something to Father Emperor. Father Emperor's face darkened and he left the ballroom. Before leaving, he patted my head and told me to wait here, saying he'd be back soon. This is my chance. I stuffed the cake in my hand into my mouth, ready to start my comeback plan. I jumped off the chair and walked into the crowd. I saw Emma's side was lively and bustling. As expected of the female lead, she already had so many people around her. I definitely can't go to the female lead side, so I'll choose another battlefield. Emma, who was chatting with the nobles here, noticed that Aphilo had come down. She was stunned for a moment. Then she was pulled back into conversation by others. On this side, after Aphilo came down, people started to avoid her. I'm not sure if they're avoiding me as a princess, or because of my lack of magic and bad luck. Seeing over there, a few young ladies from noble families were chatting. Aphilo wanted to join them too. Unexpectedly, as soon as she approached and curtsied, before she could even speak, they all ran away scared. Indeed, even as a princess, if you don't have magic, you'll be discriminated against. Living in such an environment, it's no wonder the original owner went astray. Since socializing isn't working, let's move on to the next step of the plan. Dancing is just the beginning. Where should I find a dance partner? Looking around the crowd, a familiar figure caught my eye. It was Vidi. I looked at Vidi. Vidi also noticed me. We looked at each other for a moment. Vidi turned his head away. Why is Vidi here? Wait, isn't he a perfect dance partner? Vidi looked at Aphilo with a scheming expression. I really want to run away. At the royal ball, everyone had their own agenda. An unexpected dance-off between princesses occurred. Continuing from before, Vidi saw Aphilo's strange look. He turned to run away, but Aphilo was faster. This gentleman was brought to the dance floor. May I have the honor of dancing with you? Seeing Apollo's pitiful eyes, Vidi sighed and had to agree. "It's my honor, Your Highness." As the music played, Vidi and Apollo gracefully danced in the ballroom. People turned to look. They didn't expect the princess to dance so well. She used to be terrible. Perhaps knowing the eldest princess returned, she started working hard. As everyone was admiring Apollo and Vidi's dance, Emma and her partner slowly danced into view. Swaying gracefully, every step was elegant. People marveled. The eldest princess has only been back for a short time, yet her dancing skills are so impressive. No wonder the younger princess is trying so hard. The two princesses gradually danced to the center of the ballroom. Under observation and comparison, there was a subtle tension in the air. While dancing, Apollo asked Vidi why he was here today. It turned out Neil couldn't attend the ball, so he sent Vidi to protect the princess. If he found out Vidi was inappropriate with the princess, he would be unkind to Vidi. He was already upset about not being able to attend the ball. Faced with the princess's question, Vidi only answered it was a mission. Another mission to protect me, or something. After hearing Vidi's affirmative answer, Apollo thought it was fortunate Vidi was here so the plan could proceed smoothly. People's impression of me is starting to change. It seems my redemption is not far off. Glancing at Emma's side, Apollo was also surprised. Calculating, her time learning to dance was the same as Emma's. Apollo was a transmigrator and had learned before coming here. But Emma's dancing was not at all inferior to Apollo's. It seems she still needs to work harder. Vidi, as if he could read minds, said to Apollo, "Your Highness, you don't need to compare yourself to others." As he was speaking, Vidi suddenly hugged Apollo and dodged. Emma fell to the side. The crowd gasped. Apollo looked confused in Vidi's arms. "What's going on?" At the ball, the female lead fell next to me. Everyone was discussing. As the evil antagonist, what should I do? Emma fell like this in the center of the dance floor. At the ball, everyone looked at Emma on the ground and talked. Vidi coldly looked at Emma on the ground. Emma sat on the ground with tears in her eyes. Vidi spoke. "Princess Emma, be careful next time you dance. Don't fall over yourself. You almost crashed into the princess just now." Emma on the ground was too upset to speak. The audience below started discussing. Some said Princess Emma did it on purpose. Others said Apollo did it intentionally. But it seemed people had more complaints about Emma. Why dance if you're not skilled enough? Emma trembled at everyone's discussions. Apollo quickly walked to Emma, wanting to help Emma up. "Sister, are you all right? It must hurt to fall like that." The outstretched hand was slapped away by Emma's dance partner. "Your Highness, no need to pretend here. If you hadn't dodged, how could Princess Emma have fallen?" "Bro, do you hear yourself? If I hadn't dodged, I would have been the one knocked down." Apollo complained internally. At this moment, Vidi protected Apollo behind him, confronting the other party. The emperor returned to the banquet hall from the crowd. Everyone looked at the emperor. It seemed this farce would be ended by the emperor. After the emperor came over, he only asked Apollo what happened. Seeing Apollo say it was nothing, he turned his gaze to Vidi. Vidi answered truthfully, "Your Majesty, Princess Emma almost knocked over the princess during the dance." But Emma's dance partner retorted, "It was clearly Princess Apollo who almost knocked over Princess Emma." What the hell? This ability to twist facts. If I wasn't involved, I would have believed it. Obviously, the emperor didn't believe this nonsense at all. He turned to ask Emma if it was true. Emma, at the Duke's hint, reported to the emperor, "Your Majesty, it was just my carelessness. It has nothing to do with my sister." Strange, why do I smell the scent of a green tea bitch? Apollo was worried that Father would believe her words. But unexpectedly, Father darkened his face and said, "If you can't dance, then don't dance. I don't see the need to continue this banquet anymore." He said, glaring fiercely at Vidi, "You failed to protect the princess. This is your second failure." Seeing that Father was about to punish Vidi, Apollo quickly grabbed the emperor's cloak. The emperor turned around. What's it like to have the unlimited love of a country's ruler? What's it like to have a handsome emperor's favoritism? Seeing that the emperor was about to punish Vidi, I quickly grabbed the emperor's cloak. Father turned his head, his expression becoming extremely gentle again. He asked me what was wrong. I pleaded, "Well, I'm fine." If Vidi hadn't pulled me away in time, just now, I would have been knocked down. "Father, please don't punish him." I clung to Father's cloak, acting cute and coy. "Please." Father looked down at me for a long time. I thought, oh no, this trick won't work on the emperor, will it? But unexpectedly, the emperor sighed and said, "All right." As he spoke, he picked me up in one motion. The banquet continued. Vidi was let off this time. Father carried me and was about to leave. That was close. I waved to Vidi behind father's shoulder, telling him to leave quickly. Vidi was surprised for a moment, then fell silent. The Duke nearby fell into deep thought. He seemed to have an unclear, indescribable relationship with Emma. Father carried me to the study. After putting me on the sofa, he gently asked if I was really all right with the banquet. I said I was really fine. He stroked my head and told me, "In the future, if you don't like these banquets, you don't have to attend them." This was the first time someone told me that if I didn't like it, I could skip those annoying banquets. Memories of my past life flashed in my mind. But here, someone was willing to protect me, telling me I didn't have to go. In the study, Father and I were cozily eating snacks when someone outside reported that Duke Witovas requested an audience. Father's expression immediately became very displeased. He asked if I wanted to see him. I recalled that in the novel, this Duke was the biggest winner. He was the one who pushed the male and female leads to the throne. Such a complex person, I didn't want to face him. Before I could say anything, Father patted my head and said, "I understand." Then he used my poor health as an excuse. He rejected the Duke's request for a meeting. The Duke outside, accompanied by Emma, left the doorway reluctantly. Emma's expression was filled with resentment, terrifyingly gloomy. I am the little princess of the Laphist Empire. Since childhood, I've been Father Emperor's favorite. I advised Father Emperor to spread his favor equally, but Father Emperor simply wouldn't listen. After the ball, life gradually returned to normal, but I felt like I was facing a great enemy, because during the ball, while resting in the study, I said to Father Emperor, "Actually, I don't dislike making friends." So Father Emperor arranged a tea party for me. But my reputation for being spoiled precedes me. I'm afraid this tea party will also be a fierce battle. Last time at the ball, Father Emperor took me away early. I hadn't finished implementing my plan. This time, perhaps it's another opportunity to change everyone's impression of me. This time, I'm determined to succeed. To prepare gifts for the noble ladies attending the tea party, I asked Father Emperor for permission to go out. Finally, I got to go out once. Just as I was thinking this, Neil pointed at something on a small stall and asked me, "How about this?" I looked. "What beautiful gems." Then Neil generously said, "We'll take them all." Just like that, he took them all. Watching the shopkeeper pack quickly, I didn't even have time to refuse. Behind me, Vidi was also saying, "We'll take all of these too." My face darkened. Sure enough, in no time, the attention of the entire street was drawn to us. Everyone was calling us over to look at their goods. Neil, completely unaware that I was already unhappy, kept telling me, "Don't worry, miss. I've instructed them to send everything to the palace. This way, your highness can choose at your leisure." Vidi chimed in, "Same here." I exploded. This isn't the kind of shopping trip for gifts that I wanted. Having said that, I ran away. After shaking off Neil and Vidi, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. At this moment, someone handed me a handkerchief, asking if I was all right. I turned around to look. A silver-haired youth wearing a cloak stood before me. I stared in a daze. How could someone be so good-looking? While they were all handsome in their own way. This person, he was so pure and holy. This must be the legendary angel. "Is something wrong?" he asked again. I finally came to my senses. "Thank you, I'm fine." He smiled and said, "That's good." At that moment, I was illuminated by a holy light. I used his handkerchief to wipe my sweat while looking him up and down. Someone like this is quite similar to the son of the Holy Temple in the original book. Could he be the male lead? I only said I didn't dislike making friends, and Father Emperor organized a tea party for me. While preparing gifts, I ran away on the street and even encountered the male lead. What will happen next? After thanking the silver-haired youth, I was about to leave. The silver-haired youth told me he lived just ahead and I could find him if I needed anything. I looked in the direction he pointed. It was a fortune-telling house. I thought he was a fortune teller, but he said he was an astrologer, observing celestial phenomena. However, he knew a bit about fortune-telling too. He asked if I wanted to try. I hesitated for a moment, then followed him to his fortune-telling house. He said it was usually just him here and told me to make myself at home. I thought such a big house would have other people, but it was just him living here. After asking for my name, he hugged a crystal ball and began to tell my fortune. The crystal ball emitted a strong light. I was extremely excited, but unexpectedly, cracks suddenly appeared on the crystal ball. Then it shattered. What's going on? Does this mean I'll have terrible luck? The crystal ball shattered. How bad could it be? The silver-haired youth spoke. "On you." "Oh no, is he about to announce my death?" "You are very interesting." "What does that mean?" Very interesting. Doesn't mean I'm going to die, right? The silver-haired youth told me. Someone has placed a very strong restriction on you. The crystal ball shattered because the person who placed the restriction on you doesn't allow me to tell your fortune. Who placed the restriction on me? Why would they do that? But the silver-haired youth said he didn't know either. Maybe it's to protect me, or it could be for other reasons. He didn't know. I sighed. I just wanted to join in the fun and have my fortune told, but instead of getting my fortune told, I discovered I had a restriction on me. That silver-haired youth suddenly came closer to me. He said the restriction on me felt familiar. As he was about to touch me, I thought, help, is anyone coming to save me? Just then, there was a loud bang. Vidi burst through the door with a dark expression. Get your filthy hands off. Vidi walked in with a grim face. At that moment, I felt like I saw my savior. My short legs pattered as I ran to Vidi, obediently asking how he found me. Unexpectedly, Vidi first apologized. I'm sorry, Your Highness. I couldn't protect you properly. I quickly waved my hands. No, it was me who ran off. If I hadn't run off, I wouldn't have met this creepy charlatan. Vidi asked the silver-haired youth with a gloomy face. Who are you? While shielding me behind him. The silver-haired youth, who had a sinister look just a second ago, suddenly put on an innocent expression. I'm just an ordinary astrologer of this fortune-telling house. Yeah, right? I inwardly raged, as if anyone would believe that. Vidi had to let it go. I apologize for disturbing your shop. Thank you for taking care of my young lady. However, I need to take her back now. As he said this, he held my hand. Somehow my face felt hot. The silver-haired youth chuckled lightly, bowed to me, and said, I'm sorry if my actions earlier startled you, miss. To express my apologies, he took out a box as he spoke. Please accept this lucky necklace as compensation. Vidi frowned at this. I quickly pushed away the box the silver-haired youth offered. Thank you, but it's not necessary. With that, Vidi led me out of the fortune-telling house. The silver-haired youth watched us leave with a gloomy face, muttering, you'll need it. Then the necklace in the box suddenly vanished into thin air. After walking a few steps on the street, Neil hurriedly caught up with us. Your Highness, we finally found you. Are you all right? I'm fine. I'm sorry for worrying you. After that, Neil was about to take us back. I was about to ask Neil about the restriction on me, but seeing so many people on the street, I decided against it. It's better to ask about this when we get back. I looked at my empty little hand. Vidi had let go of my hand at some point. I felt a bit disappointed. It had been a tiring day. After returning to my room, I took stock. The gifts, snacks, and decorative flowers were all nearly prepared. I hoped everything would go smoothly tomorrow. As I lay in bed about to sleep, I was startled by a sudden burst of light. What's going on? A beautiful, glowing woman stood by my bedside. She called me Aphilo. Who is she? Who is this glowing, beautiful woman by my bed? How does she know my name? That woman kept calling Aphilo's name over and over. Aphilo looked into her eyes, clear as water, and felt her scalp tingle with fear. WW, who are you? Sneaking into a princess's palace at night is punishable by death. Seeing Aphilo's fright, the woman tried to reach out to comfort her, but Aphilo quickly dodged. Being too nervous, she even bumped into the headboard. Ouch, that hurts. To be able to bypass the guards and appear in my chambers, she must be no ordinary person. Could she be an assassin? As Aphilo was thinking, the woman's hand reached out, gently soothing her. Aphilo finally calmed down. Who are you really? Before the person could answer, she began to fade away. Aphilo instinctively reached out to grab her, wanting to keep this mysterious person from leaving. But it was all in vain. She watched as the figure drifted further away. Neil heard the commotion in the room and asked, Your Highness, are you not asleep yet? Although Aphilo heard Neil speaking, she hadn't come to her senses yet. Only when Neil called out again did she snap back to reality. I'm Fina, Neil. You should go to sleep. I'll just stand guard at the door for your Highness. If you have another nightmare, you can call for me directly. I reluctantly agreed. Maybe that person would appear again. The next day, Aphilo woke up with heavy dark circles under her eyes. Hetty complained while doing my makeup. Your Highness, really? You knew you had an important gathering today, yet you didn't rest well. I didn't want to either. It's all because of that mysterious woman. She made me think about her all night. We both stayed up all night. So why doesn't Neil have dark circles? As I was thinking, a servant came to report. Your Highness, the gathering is ready. We can begin now. What, so quickly? Arriving at the tea party venue, I saw Emma already chatting and laughing with the noble ladies. What's going on here? Why is Emma at my tea party? And everyone is sitting on her side, far away from me. Isn't this the tea party father organized for me? The tea party father organized for me, and my sister stole all the attention. After being troubled by the guests, my illegitimate sister instead helped speak up for me. Seeing everyone sitting near my sister Emma, far away from me, I felt extremely discouraged. Did my performance at that ball have no effect at all? At this moment, a cheerful voice came from afar. Sorry, I'm late. Then, pointing to the chair beside me, they asked, "May I sit here?" They actually wanted to sit next to me. I quickly replied, "Of course you can." With that, they sat down next to me and said, "Thank you." The other noble ladies, seeing this scene, were shocked. Someone actually dared to sit next to Aphilo. I quietly asked them, "Aren't you afraid of me?" They countered, "Why should I be afraid of you?" "Because everyone says I'm arrogant, willful, and overbearing." "Are you?" "No." "Then that's fine." I was still a bit nervous. "But I don't have magic." In this world where you're nothing without magic, having no magic is seen as unlucky. Everyone avoids me like the plague. I was afraid that after saying this person who finally wanted to approach me would also leave. So what? I was pleasantly surprised by their answer. Besides Vidi and the others, this was the first person in this world who didn't care whether I had magic or not. We chatted and laughed amicably. We didn't notice at all that Emma's face had darkened considerably. She looked very unhappy, but she quickly hid her expression and said, "Now that the last lady has arrived, shall we start the tea party?" Why does it feel like Emma is the main character of this tea party? But I won't give up because of this. At least there's one person who believes in me now. I called for Hetty. Hetty understood immediately and clapped her hands. The maids brought out the gifts I had prepared for the noble ladies. Everyone looked confused. I spoke up. "These are gifts I prepared for everyone. Thank you all for coming to my tea party." Everyone looked at each other, not daring to touch the gifts. I was a bit nervous. You could open them and take a look. The atmosphere became tense. Everyone hesitated, not daring to touch those gifts. I felt a bit disappointed. They weren't even willing to accept my gifts. At the tea party father organized for me, my sister became the main character. Everyone was afraid of me, the arrogant little princess. They only wanted to be friends with my sister. What should I do? Seeing that everyone was unwilling to accept my gifts, I felt a bit dejected. Just at that moment, the lady who had been willing to sit next to me suddenly opened the gift I had given. Inside was a high-quality whip inlaid with rubies. General Aztega's daughter had practiced martial arts since childhood and loved long whips. This was a gift I had specially prepared for Miss Belda. Unexpectedly, the other noble lady sneered. How could anyone give such a crude thing as a gift to a noble lady? It seems this princess really doesn't understand etiquette, as the rumors say. Bowler Coco interrupted their mockery. "I like it very much," she said, her gaze firm and brooking no doubt. As expected of a lady from a military family, she turned to me and said, "Thank you for your thoughtfulness, Your Highness. I really like the gift you prepared." At this moment, another lady had also opened her gift. She exclaimed, "This is the book I've always wanted, but could never find." Seeing this, everyone started opening the gifts I gave. Another person happily said, "This jewelry set is only available in neighboring countries. I've always wanted it." I spoke up, "That's great. It seems everyone likes them." It wasn't in vain that I did so much research and investigated everyone's preferences. Everyone sat closer and closer to me. I noticed the low pressure around Emma. She looked very displeased. I quickly said, "Sister, won't you look at the gift I sent you?" She immediately hid her displeasure and replied, "No need. The gift you sent offline must be just as good." I happily answered, "It definitely won't disappoint you, sister." The tea party was in full swing. Everyone was chatting happily. It was truly a delightful sight. Looking at these ladies, I felt like I was becoming more elegant too. Those gifts helped them gradually lower their guard towards me. I glanced at the noble lady over there. The moment our eyes met, she was so scared she hid in someone else's arms, thinking I would harm her. I was just smiling at her. Seeing I had no ill intentions, she lowered her guard and curtsied to me. It seems today was a good start. Eliminating everyone's prejudice against me was within reach. I want to make good friends at this tea party father organized for me, improve my reputation among the noble ladies, and change everyone's view that I was difficult to get along with. But I didn't expect to encounter a major crisis. I was happily watching everyone chatting and laughing. Two noble ladies were saying something, and I saw one pushing the other, saying, "Go on." In her panic, she accidentally knocked over a teacup. The scalding tea spilled out. "Hetty, Quickly check if Miss Roth is hurt. Miss Roth guiltily said to Aphilo, I'm sorry for disturbing your Highness's tea party. As long as Miss Vafroth is all right, it's fine. Seeing this, the young lady was deeply moved and said, Thank you, Your Highness. Her smile was like a spring breeze, blooming like peach blossoms in early spring. Seeing everything was fine, the lady next to her continued to encourage Vafroth. Go on, Vafroth. Vafroth hesitated. Is this really okay? It's fine, just ask casually. Finally, Vafroth agreed. She walked up to Aphilo. Your Highness, thank you for this book. I really like it. I'm glad you like it, Miss Vafroth. Well, Your Highness, have you read this book? Vafroth asked me, holding the book I gave her. The air suddenly froze. Before I could answer, Vafroth exclaimed happily, I can't believe Your Highness has even read this book. I hurriedly waved my hands. No, I haven't. Don't say that. It's a bit embarrassing to say, but I haven't read this book yet. Vafroth suddenly looked a bit disappointed. I see. Barrelite scolded. Miss Vafroth, you're being too rude. Her Highness has just turned 12. She's just starting to learn beginner books. The lady next to her also said, the difficulty of Philosophia Turintica can be considered advanced. Although Her Highness is exceptionally intelligent, this book is still too difficult. Even I, who have started learning intermediate books, haven't been able to fully understand that book. It's normal for Her Highness not to have read it yet. Seeing everyone come to my defense, I was so moved that tears almost came in my eyes. That's right. It's just like that. Vafroth fell into guilt again. I'm sorry, Your Highness. I apologize for my carelessness. Please forgive my incompetence. I immediately waved my hands and replied, It's all right. You don't need to feel sorry. It's just that I haven't read enough books yet. I breathed a sigh of relief internally. I dodged that one. Thank you for Your Highness's forgiveness, she said, giving me a label. Ah, Your Highness is such a good person. So which volume is Your Highness studying now? Looking at her expression, I believe she had no ill intentions. But why is it still about books? Is this child a bookworm? I want to make good friends at this tea party father organized for me, improve my reputation among the noble ladies, and change everyone's view that I was difficult to get along with. But I didn't expect to encounter a major crisis. Seeing my difficulty, everyone quickly came to my rescue. My sister Molia is a year older than Your Highness, and she just finished the Ephitic records last month. I think Your Highness should be studying the Ephitic records now, right? I was completely puzzled. What is the Ephitic records? That girl continued to ask me. Is that right? Your Highness, I was about to cry. Just kill me now. Social death couldn't be worse than this. Recently, I've been focusing on learning noble etiquette. I haven't even started learning those books they mentioned. Should I tell them I haven't started studying yet? But if I do that, won't my title as a useless princess be confirmed? Hearing everyone still discussing, Her Highness should be learning faster than ordinary children, right? Maybe she's already reached the Emeriti research thesis. I haven't even finished the Swiltica treatise yet. My head was lowered, not daring to look up. If people lie about such things, how can I be worthy of others changing their impression of me? I should just admit it frankly. I was about to speak when I was interrupted. It was Emma who said, Her Highness has already reached the Lovos phenomenon, the last chapter of the Verona treatise. I didn't dare speak, just looking at Emma. Emma looked surprised for a moment, then continued, The teacher once praised you in front of me, saying you're the smartest student he's ever taught. Everyone started discussing again. As expected of a princess, Your Highness has already reached the last chapter at 12 years old. Just the 5th chapter, the anti-romantic theory, took me nearly half a year to learn. It seems the rumors about Your Highness outside aren't true at all, but I was extremely confused. Why did Emma help me? The girl asked Emma, Lady Emma, have you also reached the last chapter? Emma smiled and replied, I've been studying longer than Her Highness, but I'm not as intelligent, not as clever as Her Highness. I've only managed to reach Skep's thought. Everyone hearing this praised her. You're also very impressive. My brother just started learning Skep's thought recently. I heard it's very obscure and difficult to understand. Skep's thought is indeed too difficult. It took me 2 months to finish learning it. If it's Her Highness, she probably only needs half that time. Emma looked at me. Her eyes showed no sign of ill intent. I replied, If I could learn it that quickly, it would definitely be with my sister's help. At the tea party my father organized for me, I almost exposed myself, but my sister stepped in to help me out, also taking all the spotlight. After helping me out, Emma and the noble ladies chatted casually together. I'm currently studying D. Royce's Meditations. It feels very difficult. If you calm your mind, you can understand it. You must have read it too. Yes, I just finished it recently. Then do you like Melito's Heart Theory? I prefer Melito's Heart Theory over I was sweating just listening. I couldn't keep up with the talk about Melito and D. Royce at all. After the tea party ended, I started studying frantically in my room. Even Heidi was scared by me. I was careless. I only paid attention to etiquette and dancing, but forgot that a real princess needs more than just appearances. Emma, who grew up abroad, could easily converse with others, while I could only watch silently. I even needed others to help me out of difficult situations. In my previous life, I was always the star at such gatherings. This can't continue. Neil, prepare for me immediately. I need as many books as possible from beginner to advanced levels. But Your Highness, some of these might be too difficult for you. This is all to become a qualified princess. I answered firmly. Neil was also startled by my attitude. Why, Your Highness? I'll prepare them for you right away. From that day on, I studied even harder. I want to become a qualified princess and shed the title of useless. I must learn all the knowledge a princess should learn, even beyond what's planned. Only this way can I truly integrate into this world and take control of my own destiny. 2 years passed in the blink of an eye. That day, I was reading under a tree, but Neil called out to me, saying it was time to leave. I closed my book and replied to Neil, coming. That's right. Today is my 14th birthday banquet. Today, nobles from all over the country will come to the banquet. Everyone marveled. I can't believe Princess is already 14. Yes, I heard Her Highness has been studying diligently lately. No wonder we've rarely seen Her Highness recently. The banquet began. Father Emperor led me in by the hand. Everyone bowed to us as usual. Father Emperor changed his usual stern demeanor. Today is a family banquet to celebrate Aphilo's 14th birthday. Everyone, please relax and enjoy the party. Today is my 14th birthday banquet. It's getting closer to the day I was executed in the original story. After Father Emperor announced the main character of the banquet, he said to me, "Go have fun." He's still as gentle with me as before, never forcing me to socialize. I happily replied to Father Emperor, "I understand." At this moment, Emma also came forward to curtsy to Father Emperor. "I will take good care of my sister." In the shadows, Duke Witovas quietly watched Father Emperor leave. It was impossible to tell what he was thinking. After Father Emperor left, many men came to greet me. "Happy birthday, Your Highness. Your gift has been given to Butler Neil. We hope you like it. Your Highness is becoming more beautiful. I sent you a set of jewelry made with rare gems from the neighboring country. I heard Your Highness has been reading Sigrilla's books recently. I specially prepared. I was already feeling dazed. Finally, after they all finished speaking, I quickly replied to everyone, "Thank you all for the gifts. After I've seen them, I'll thank each of you properly. Help me. I'm about to be buried in gifts." Just as I was panicking about how to handle this, Emma linked her arm with mine. "Aphilo, the dance is starting. You promised to dance the first one with me. Excuse us, everyone." As the music began, Aphilo and I started dancing gracefully. The crowd was amazed. Even Witovas was intrigued. How interesting. The two princesses chose to dance together. Well, I was planning to invite Princess to dance the first dance. Aphilo also heard what this young man said and told Emma, "I've heard at least 6 people say they wanted to invite me to dance." Aphilo said, "When you said we should dance the first dance together, I was surprised. This way, we've neatly cut off their intentions, right?" I cleverly replied to Emma. Emma was also pleased. It also helped me refuse those people's dance invitations. Come to think of it, ever since Emma helped me out at that tea party, Emma and I have become much closer. Emma is even smarter than I imagined. Perhaps because of being lost abroad as a child, she always finds it hard to refuse others' requests. This time, if I hadn't come up with the idea of dancing together, she would have agreed to all of them, because she didn't know how to refuse. As the dance ended, Emma and I curtsied to each other, but then I heard a very abrupt applause. It was Duke Witovas. The two princesses' dance was truly a delight to watch. Witovas greets the two princesses. I was very afraid of this Duke, but Emma wasn't afraid. She curtsied to Witovas. "Duke Witovas, it's a pleasure to see you." The mysterious Duke at the banquet exchanged secret signals with my sister right in front of me. What kind of plot do they have? Seeing Duke Witovas always gives me an uneasy feeling. He is the Emperor's younger brother. Logically, I should call him uncle. He's refined and elegant, with impeccable manners. In the novel, he helped the main characters multiple times. It was also he who caught the original owner trying to poison the Emperor, sending her to the execution platform. Aphilo thought to herself, "Now that I'm behaving properly, I shouldn't be sent to the execution platform again, right?" Seeing my expression change, Witovas asked, "Your Highness, is something wrong?" No, I'm just a bit surprised. Come to think of it, it's been a while since I've seen Your Highness. I've been studying lately. It's true, it's been a long time since I've seen the Duke. After the last banquet, I almost met with the Duke, but Father Emperor and I declined. Come to think of it, Emma was brought back by the Duke. I heard Emma say, "The book the Duke sent the other day, I really like it. However, it's quite difficult. I'm still struggling with it and haven't finished it yet." "It's all right. Your Highness Emma can take your time studying that book." After hearing this, Emma's face darkened. She replied, "Yes." Standing beside them, I felt they were speaking in some kind of code, but I couldn't detect anything unusual. "Today is your Highness's birthday. I won't disturb you further. I hope you enjoy yourself." The Duke turned and walked a few steps. Then he turned back and said to me, "Oh, the gift has been sent to your Highness's room. You should like it very much." Although he said this with a smile, I felt uneasy looking at his expression. I could only exchange pleasantries. "Thank you, Duke." After he left, I let out a big sigh of relief. Finally, he's gone. Talking to him is so exhausting. After the banquet ended, I collapsed onto my bed, wanted to rest properly. But Neil said, "Your Highness, you haven't opened your gifts yet." Looking at the mountain of gifts, I thought, how can I open all these by myself? Call Weddy and Hetty. Let's open them together. After taking stock of the gifts, I found that there was even a gift from Waflot, which I quite liked. At this moment, Hetty unwrapped a gemstone from the gifts and exclaimed, "How beautiful." Weddy took one look and was startled. "This is the church's sacred stone. It's from Duke Witovas." Is this what he meant by a gift I would definitely like very much? The mysterious stones sent by the Duke. The secret room in the study. The gold bars in the secret room. This vast palace. How many more secrets are hidden here? I don't understand why he gave me this. Then I heard Neil say, "I heard that when the Duke found Princess Emma, His Majesty offered rewards, but the Duke didn't ask for anything except the church's sacred stone. I didn't expect he would give the sacred stone to your Highness." I thought for a moment, rubbing my chin. "Well, I can't figure it out. Let's keep it for now. Please put it in the drawer in my study. There are so many gifts. Writing thank you notes will be quite a task. I'll write to the important ones first." Just as I was about to start writing, I noticed a faint glow coming from the drawer. "What's going on?" I opened the drawer, and the sacred stone from the Duke was glowing. Correspondingly, the bookshelf was also glowing. I removed the glowing book from its place. I saw a shape, a recess that perfectly matched the sacred stone. I glanced at the sacred stone. Without hesitation, I inserted the sacred stone. Instantly, the stone burst into a bright light. It was so bright I couldn't open my eyes. With a tremor, behind the bookcase in the study, a passage leading underground appeared. This is a secret room. Witovas wasn't joking after all. After a brief mental preparation, I gently walked down. As I passed, the lights in the corridor automatically lit up. At the end, a door covered in patterns was tightly closed. The patterns on the door seemed familiar. I placed my hand on it. The door opened automatically. It was a simple small room. It stored some books on theology. In this world, most humans are born with magic power or divine power, distinguished by strength. Divine power is relatively rare. Nobles and royalty, due to their bloodline, mostly possess extremely strong magic power. Among commoners, occasionally, there are people with powerful magic or divine power. Those with magic power are called mages or dancers. Those with divine power would study and pass tests to enter the church, becoming priests. In this room, most things were related to theology. Does it have something to do with the church? At this moment, my attention was suddenly drawn to a gold block on the table. What is this? The moment I picked it up, it suddenly emitted a strong light. A virtual image of a woman suddenly appeared before my eyes. "Hello, Aphilo, my child." It was the mysterious woman who appeared by my bed last time. She is my mother. In a virtual image in the secret room, I saw my mother whom I had never met. Will the mystery of my origins be solved now? The mysterious woman who appeared by my bed earlier turned out to be my mother. In a virtual image, my mother gently caressed my cheek. "Happy birthday, my child." Tears involuntarily filled my eyes. Strange, why do I feel so sad? I reached out to touch my mother, but my fingers passed through the virtual image. As if sensing it, my mother said, "This is just an image of me, child." I thought I would be trapped in sadness. But my mother said, "Don't be sad. Child, the fact that you found this place means you're already 14 years old. I'm sorry I couldn't witness your 14th birthday in person. Seeing all this, I'm sure you have many questions. It's time to tell you some things." That night, while Hetty was helping me brush my hair, she noticed I was distracted. She asked if I had something on my mind. I didn't hear her. She called me 3 times before I heard her. I replied that it was nothing. Hetty gently told me, "Your Highness, if you have something on your mind, you can tell me. I can help you share your worries. I'm Fina. Hetty, you might be a bit tired from today." Hetty told me to rest early and to call her anytime if I needed anything. After Hetty left, I quietly took out a nightlight and a book from under the bed. My thoughts returned to what my mother had told me. "Child, I was once the teacher of Saint Ifana. Even before you were born, I sensed the strong magical fluctuations within you, as well as a faint holy aura. I divined for myself and knew I wouldn't be able to stay by your side and watch you grow up. You will be the first person on the continent to possess both divine power and magic power. This special ability will surely bring you countless dangers. So I left these books and treasures. Only when you turn 14 can you open this secret room. You must master divine power to protect yourself." I fell into deep thought. Mother said she sealed my divine power to protect my safety. This means Athlone not only has magic power, but it's quite powerful. Was this the restriction that the boy in the fortune-telling house mentioned? Realizing this, the silver-haired boy felt a chill run down his spine. One type of divine power, one type of magic power. How troublesome. A voice came from outside. "Your Highness, are you not asleep yet?" "Never mind. I'll stop thinking and go to sleep." In the virtual image in the secret room, I saw my mother whom I had never met. Will the mystery of my origins be solved now? Aphilo finally fell asleep. Meanwhile, beneath a huge statue stood a mysterious person wearing a cloak. His subordinate was kneeling behind him. The blonde, mysterious person instructed, "Don't disappoint our master." The subordinate raised his head. It was actually the silver-haired boy from the fortune-telling house earlier. After that day's events in the secret room, I was distracted all day. These days, I searched the entire secret room, trying to find a way to break the restriction on me. But I always came up empty-handed. After sighing, Father Emperor quickly asked what was wrong. I only answered that I didn't sleep well last night. I don't know why. Although Father Emperor loves me extremely, I always felt that I couldn't let Father Emperor know about this. After finishing breakfast, Father Emperor wiped his mouth. He said, "Tomorrow, you and Emma will go to the Imperial Academy to study together." I exclaimed, "So soon? Has the plot already progressed to this point?" Father Emperor said, "You're also at the age to start learning. Remember to take care of each other, you and Emma." Emma replied, "This is what I should do. Go back and prepare well," Father Emperor said as he was about to leave. Before leaving, he patted my head and said, "If you're tired, go back and sleep for a while. Lenny'll help you pack." The room was already in complete chaos. "Oh, we need to bring this for your Highness. Your Highness might need this at the Academy. We must not forget this." I interjected, "Actually, we don't need to bring so much." Neil and Hetty said in unison, "No, we can't. Your Highness's luggage must be fully prepared. We can't let your Highness suffer outside." How strange. Neil and Hetty seemed to have a moment of mutual understanding at this point. Just as I was wondering what to do, Vidi came out. I asked, Vidi, will you be accompanying me to the Academy as a guard?" "Yes, His Majesty asked me to protect your safety." "Then what about your luggage? Haven't you packed yet?" "It's all here." Vidi gestured to the sword at his waist. "What kind of luggage is that?" I walked over to the huge pile of luggage. This, and this are all Vidi's luggage." Vidi was stunned hearing this. Neil seemed a bit jealous. "Your Highness, if you want to prepare luggage for him, just tell me and I'll do it. There's no need for you to do it personally." I felt it wasn't necessary to make such a fuss. I said, "Taking care of those around me is also a princess's duty." Hearing this, Vidi's eyes lit up for a moment. "Thank you, Your Highness." "It's nothing." The mysterious person under the statue turned out to be the church leader. What exactly is their purpose? To control the government or to seize the throne? After packing the luggage, the group waited at the entrance for a long time, but they didn't set off. I was confused. "Aren't we going to the Academy? Why aren't we leaving yet?" Emma replied, "The church people said they need to bless us before the princess departs, so we're waiting for the church people to arrive." While I was still puzzled about the church, someone shouted loudly, "The church envoys have arrived." These cloaked people, are they the church envoys? The temple envoy led the church people in. They bowed to us. We also had to bow to the church people. The blonde envoy said, "It's been a long time. Both princesses have grown so tall." I was extremely confused. Had I met him before? Emma was already bowing at this point. "Thank you for your concern. Pontiff Winston. I suddenly felt Emma tugging at the corner of my clothes. Only then did I snap back to reality. I hurriedly bowed and thanked him. Oh no, what was it? Pontiff something? I cast a pleading look at Emma. Emma whispered to me, Pontiff Winston. Thank you for your concern, Pontiff Winston. Winston looked a bit hurt. It's been so long. Princess Aphilo has almost forgotten me. I was speechless. I was only 12 when I came here. He hadn't appeared even once in 2 years. He barely appeared in the novel either. It would be a miracle if I knew him. Father Emperor walked up to Winston. Pontiff Winston, let's begin quickly. Yes, Your Majesty. Winston's ocean-like eyes glanced at me. I couldn't help but shudder. Winston picked up his staff. He walked up to me. Princess Aphilo, please close your eyes. I obediently followed his instructions. I only heard him say, May the dawn appear. May God be with you. Bless you with peace. For some reason, I felt dizzy. My heart was racing. It didn't feel right. I quickly stepped back. What just happened? Seeing my reaction, Winston put away his staff. Princess Aphilo, is something wrong? Are you feeling unwell somewhere? Vidi also asked concernedly. Your Highness, do you need to go back and rest? I'm fine. Duke Widowas also approached me. The princess probably has too little magic power within her body. She couldn't withstand the divine power's blessing for a moment, hence feeling a bit uncomfortable. Hearing this, Winston apologized to me. I'm sorry, Your Highness. It was my oversight. I didn't consider this point. Father Emperor held my shoulders, standing behind me. Winston, is this the blessing from your temple? The perverted religious fanatic I met at the divination house. Why does he look exactly like the son of the temple? Which one is the original male lead? Seeing Father Emperor's displeased expression, the church people quickly stood in front of Winston. I hurriedly pulled Father Emperor's arm. Father, I'm fine. It's probably as the Duke said. My constitution is too weak. Emma asked worriedly. Are you really all right? Really? Father Emperor's face was still very grim. He glared darkly at Winston. I called him several times, but he didn't respond. I looked at Father Emperor with concern. Father Emperor finally sighed. He relented. The temple's so-called blessing is over, right? Yes, Your Majesty. If that's the case, you may depart. After instructing us, he ordered Vidi, protect Princess Aphilo well. Yes, Your Majesty. Emma heard this and seemed somewhat disappointed. Winston continued, Your Majesty, to express our apologies, I'm willing to send the Holy Sun to accompany the princess to the academy and ensure her highness's safety. The Holy Sun? Could this be the male lead, Padlet? Come to think of it, I was shocked when they first came in. This person looks exactly like the Battlestar Master. He walked up to us and bowed. Padlet, greetings to His Majesty the Emperor and the two princesses. It really is the novel's male lead. Oh no, the male lead has appeared. Doesn't that mean my death is not far off? That's very good, Father Emperor replied. I panicked. What's good about it? It's not good. Your daughter's going to die. Seeing my expression was off, Father Emperor asked what was wrong, if there was anything I wasn't satisfied with. No, it's just that I'm thinking about leaving you, Father. I feel a bit reluctant. Father Emperor comforted me. 3 years at the academy will pass quickly. You'll be back before you know it. Right? The execution is after the academy. My death is still far off. I'm relieved. There's still time to save myself. After saying goodbye to Father Emperor, we set off. Sitting in the carriage was quite leisurely. Fortunately, I stopped Father Emperor from sending a night squad to escort us. I don't want to be surrounded by people as soon as I arrive at the academy. Emma understands me. Aphilo refused those night squads. Actually, you just don't want them to restrict you, right? I collapsed onto Emma. If they were here, I'd have to maintain a princess's demeanor. With just you guys, I can relax a bit. Emma reminded me, it's not just us here. The Holy Knight is here too. I sat up immediately. I asked, Holy Knight, do you know about the divination witch? Seeing the Holy Knight so cold, I got a bit nervous. If it is, what should I do? If it's not, what should I do then? The son of the temple and the perverted religious fanatic I met before. Are they the same person? Coming to the Imperial Academy, what will happen? After asking the Holy Knight if he knew about the House of Divination, he was silent for a moment. I anxiously waited for his answer, but he asked me back, Princess Aphilo, why do you ask? To be honest with you, Holy Knight, you look very similar to someone I met at the House of Divination. Emma exclaimed in surprise. There's even such a thing? I was also very surprised. The novel had quite a lot of descriptions about this male lead. As the son of the temple, Padlet could be said to be second only to one above 10,000. People in the temple all said he was cold and emotionless, like a high and mighty god, as if he had no feelings, until he met the female lead, Emma. The holy son of the temple suddenly understood emotions, could laugh, and get angry. He became a completely different person from before. When I first read the novel, I was very moved, and that person I met that day was holy and gentle. Although the final impression wasn't very good, the personality differences between the two were still quite large. Seeing Padlet stroking his chin in thought, House of Divination, I must be overthinking it. But unexpectedly, Padlet said, the person your highness mentioned, could it be an astrologer? I was surprised for a moment. How do you know? Emma exclaimed. Sir Late looked very uneasy. Seeing Emma's reaction, Padlet changed the subject. It's just a guess. Your highness needn't think too much about it. There are many people who look similar. Princess Aphilo, you don't need to be surprised. All right, maybe I'm overthinking it. Why do I feel like Emma and Padlet know each other? Padlet. Emma glow. Is it just my imagination? As I was thinking, a voice came from outside the carriage. Your highness, we've arrived at the town. I looked out the window. In Austin Town, the scenery is indeed beautiful. Is this the teleportation point for the academy? Weddy continued driving the carriage into the town. The next day during mealtime, I was biting my fork, looking at Weddy and Padlet in front of me. They shouldn't have fought, right? In my mind, I gradually imagined them arguing over who gets to sleep on the bed. Could be like that. The two of them being polite to each other. Or did they sleep together? No way, oh my god. The male lead and the second male lead slept together. I was so scared by my own wild imagination that I dropped my fork. Padlet sat there stunned. Princess Aphilo, please focus on your meal. Woody seemed to read my mind. Although I don't know what your highness is thinking, please stop those strange imaginations. I felt a bit embarrassed. I'm just curious. How did you two sleep in one bed last night? Weddy answered, no, there were two beds. Of course we slept separately. What do you mean? Wasn't there only one big bed? I asked the innkeeper. The remaining two rooms were one with a large bed and one with two single beds. So, we gave the large bedroom to you two girls. I turned to ask Emma. Emma, did you know about this? Yes, of course. Aphilo, didn't you know? I thought you knew. Oh, great. So, I was the only one who didn't know. And I had been worrying for so long. Seeing me upset, Emma quickly comforted me. It's all right. It's not a big deal. Try this. I've never eaten such a peculiar thing before. Looking at what Emma brought over, isn't this the Xylong Bayo I often ate in my previous life? I didn't expect to find food from my hometown in this typical Western fantasy novel. As expected of a fictional world. Taking a bite, it's delicious. After we finished eating, we quickly went to the teleportation area. It was very busy today. It was crowded with people. I wondered why there were so many people. Emma explained. After all, Austin Academy is one of the best on the entire continent. Naturally, there are many people who want to study at this school. Then won't I have to queue for a long time? Your Highness, the royal family has a special teleportation array that can take you directly to the academy. All right, people of the royal family should have some privileges. Is this what it feels like to have power and influence? We arrived at the teleportation array with a glow of magic. We instantly arrived at the academy. This academy is truly grand and impressive. Is this a Austin Academy? A grating voice came from behind. Well, what country bumpkins do we have here? Weddy's face immediately darkened. He turned to look at the person speaking. Seeing this person continue to rudely call us country bumpkins, this isn't a place for the likes of you. I, the imperial princess on my first day reporting to school, actually being called a country bumpkin by some clueless guy. That red-haired boy said, country bumpkins. This isn't a place for you to be. I was very confused. I asked Emma beside me. Emma, is he also a student of the academy? I don't think so, right? Weddy's face was extremely dark, but he couldn't be bothered to deal with this person. He said to me, Your Highness, it's almost time for registration. Let's go in. Let's ignore him and go. The red-haired boy saw that we weren't even bothering to respond to him. His anger was already rising high. He also noticed Weddy chatting and laughing with me. He thought of another way to mock us. Isn't this the Black Disaster Star, Weddy? Weddy paused when he heard this. I turned and asked, What did you say? Weddy was very sensitive about being called the Black Disaster Star. His fists were clenched tight. But to protect me, he still said, Your Highness, don't mind him. Let's go. The red-haired boy still wouldn't let it go. Hey, don't you want to know what Black Disaster Star means? I was getting angry. What does this person mean? Padlet answered, it seems to be directed at Mr. Weddy. Now I was really angry. I was about to rush over and argue with this red-haired boy. Explain clearly what you mean. But Weddy kept holding me back. What else could I mean? I'm just a kind person who doesn't want to see you dragged down by a disaster star. That black-haired guy next to you can even restrain his own mother's ill fortune. If you want to live, you'd better stay away from him. Weddy's face looked very unpleasant after hearing his words. I put on a look of sudden realization. Oh, so this person is a coward. What? I whispered in Emma's ear, loud enough for the red-haired boy to hear. Emma, this person is so strange. He's clearly the one who's a coward, yet he blames it on Weddy's hair and eye color. The red-haired boy was about to explode with anger. Red hair, what did you say? Don't think I can't hear you. I completely ignored him and pulled Emma along. Let's hurry and go. And here I thought it was something serious. If we stay too long with a coward, we might become cowards ourselves. The red-haired boy clenched his fists in anger and was about to hit me. His guards held him back. Your Highness, don't be rash. That seems to be the princess of the Rafist Empire. How dare someone speak ill of my personal guard? As a princess, I cannot tolerate such a thing happening. That red-haired guy was clearly provoked by me. He came up wanting to hit me, but his guard stopped him. Your Highness, don't be rash. That seems to be the princess of the Rafist Empire. The red-haired guy's face changed. He didn't dare to come forward anymore. This was the first time someone stood up for Weddy in public. Weddy was a bit dazed. What is Weddy standing there stunned for? Let's go. Weddy stared at me for a while before he reacted. Padlet watched as the three of us walked closely together. He fell into deep thought. Interesting. We chatted and laughed as we entered the campus. Weddy seemed lost in thought. What's wrong? Aren't you afraid? Your Highness, Weddy? Afraid of what? I didn't understand what Weddy was asking at all. Afraid that I'm a black disaster star, that I'll bring you misfortune. This was the first time I saw Weddy like this. He looked somewhat dejected. I rubbed my chin and answered, just because of your natural black hair, they think you're an ominous existence? Weddy asked back, isn't it so? Emma explained, it's rare to see people with black hair like Mr. Weddy on the continent. That's probably why those people consider him an ominous existence. I had a sudden realization. Oh, is that so? Padlet, who rarely speaks, also said, it's nothing but groundless superstition. I secretly felt indignant for Weddy. If that's the case, then the world I lived in my previous life must have been full of ominous existences. It's so frustrating. The novel's description of Weddy ended after Aphilo sent him back to his own country. Judging by this world's discrimination against black hair, I'm afraid that after he goes back, images of Weddy being abused flash through my mind. I dare not think further. It's too miserable. I walked up to Weddy. Weddy, lower your head for a moment. Although Weddy didn't know what I was going to do, he still lowered his head respectfully. I patted Weddy's head and said, it's all right. Weddy looked at me in surprise. I was very angry. A bunch of cowards judging people by their appearance. Just because Weddy has black hair, they say he's an ominous disaster star. Then wouldn't the blonde Emma be a reincarnated angel? And the silver-haired Padlet the descent of the holy archangel? Emma heard this and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. How could Aphilo describe people like this? That's exactly how it is, I said indignantly. Padlet also found it interesting. Then what should Her Highness Aphilo with white hair be considered? What should it be? Emma and I looked at each other. For a moment, we couldn't think of what it would be like. But we heard Weddy say, my lucky goddess. I looked at Weddy. At this moment, I really wished time would stop. My childhood friend said I was like his lucky goddess. I so wished time would stop at this moment. Emma, seeing how affectionate Weddy and I were, couldn't help but have a look of amusement. Weddy and I also became embarrassed. We quickly averted our gazes. Weddy Koyhet. He said we're almost late for registration. Let's hurry. After saying that, he quickly walked away, leaving me standing there, frantically repenting. Oh my God, what was I just doing? I actually felt a tiny bit of heart flutter. Padlet and Emma exchanged glances. After exchanging looks, Emma nodded slightly. Then she caught up with Weddy and me. Aphilo, wait for me. Padlet's expression looked very deep. Is it about to begin? We finally arrived at the registration desk. I was a bit excited, seeing that there were already many people at the registration desk. I walked up. Hello, teacher. We're here to register. Please fill out this application form. Okay, thank you, teacher. I distributed the application forms the teacher gave to everyone. Weddy also found a place and called us over to sit. When filling out the application form, there were 2 academies for us to choose from. One was martial arts, and the other was magic. I didn't know what to fill in, so I asked everyone what they chose. Woody said he chose martial arts, while Emma and Padlet chose the Magic Academy. I turned to ask Weddy, I remember you have magic power too. Why didn't you choose the Magic Academy? Isn't the status of mages a bit higher than warriors? Weddy didn't dare look at me. It's better not to use that power. Alright, Weddy's magic power is the ominous black color. Well, since I don't have magic power, I'll go to the Martial Arts Academy too. Alright, Weddy was speechless at my rashness. I handed the form to the teacher. We walked around outside the academy. Weddy tried to persuade me. Your Highness should go to the Magic Academy too. I don't have magic power, so it's useless for me to go there. Besides, Weddy, if we all go to the Magic Academy, wouldn't you be left alone in the Martial Arts Academy? Weddy waved his hand. I'll be fine. I held my forehead. Although mages have higher status, I don't have magic power. Going there would only put me in an awkward position. It's better to go to the Martial Arts Academy, where I don't have to worry about magic power levels. My illegitimate sister, in order to gain the Empire's inheritance rights, seems to have some scheme waiting for me. But at this moment, I was completely unaware of this. I only felt that my sister was so good to me. Emma immediately came to my side and said, with me there, no one in the Magic Academy will bully Aphilo. At the crossroads, I looked at everyone. Looks like we have to part ways. It's okay. At least we're all still in the academy. We'll see each other again. Padlet said we'd meet again at the new student assembly. Then, see you at the new student assembly. Don't worry, Your Highness. I'll come find you, Weddy said. I felt much more at ease. Arriving at the dormitory entrance, I swiped in with the door card. Everyone was already inside. Hello. Unexpectedly, the roommate was Padlet. He recognized me immediately. Your Highness Aphilo. Before we could exchange greetings, a voice came from the side. So this is that useless princess? It was a short-haired girl. Padlet called her Mafala. He looked a bit angry. Mafala didn't care at all. Padlet's face was already displeased. Isn't it true? Without magic power, what else is she but useless? What could she even learn? I retorted. Not having magic power just means I can't learn magic. There's still swordsmanship to learn. I thought swordsmanship shouldn't require high magic power, right? Seeing my determined look, Mafala didn't know what to say. She introduced herself. I'm Mafala. This one beside me is Mary. Padlet and I also introduced ourselves. They exchanged names. Please take care of me in the future. On the day of the new student assembly, the dean was on stage. Welcome to Ilostan Academy. You will spend your upcoming academic career here. I look forward to. Mafala had no patience at all. How long is this old man going to talk? Mary tugged at Mafala's clothes, signaling her not to speak carelessly. Mafala reluctantly complied. As for Weddy, rejected by the dorm due to his ominous black color, he simply sat with us. Mafala was already yawning. Is it not over yet? It's still early. After this, there's still the new student representative speeches from the Magic and Martial Arts Academies. I thought to myself, fortunately my roommates don't mind Weddy's hair color. When I introduced Weddy to everyone, I was actually very nervous. As I was thinking, they began to invite the Magic Academy's new student representative. Emma slowly walked up to the podium. She was dazzling. Hello everyone. I'm Emma Glow, the new student representative of the Magic Academy. Looking at Emma on stage, I couldn't help but sigh. As expected of the female lead, she's the focus wherever she goes. I heard Mafala say beside me, a goddess-level figure, also with a royal surname. Could she be that princess who was found a few years ago and caused such a stir? I nodded. At this moment, Padlet greeted us. I'll be leaving for a bit. Watching Padlet's retreating figure, I was a bit confused. Is he going to the bathroom? I'll ask him when he comes back. I want to go too. Mafala beside me was still complaining. How much longer? After the Martial Arts Academy's new student representative speaks, it should be over. Just then, we heard the teacher on stage announce, next, let's welcome the new student representative from the Martial Arts Academy to give a speech. Amidst the applause, Padlet went on stage, shocking us all. Finally, the new student assembly ended. On the way back, Mafala complained to Padlet, we agreed to be bad students together, but you became a top student in advance. I also chimed in, is this the disparity of the world? Padlet looked embarrassed. I thought you all knew. Seeing our confused expressions, Padlet continued. After all, my surname is Astor. General Astor's Astor. Mafala had a sudden realization. Oh, that Astor In the novel, General Astor was brave and good at warfare. His daughter also inherited his traits. I knew it the first time I met Padlet, but I didn't expect him to be this impressive. He's even become the representative. Weddy caught up and asked, "Which class are you all in?" Hearing this, we all took out our class assignment cards. Weddy, Padlet, and Mary were in Class A, while Mafala and I were in Class F. We're all from the same dorm. Why am I with this guy in the bottom-tier class? Let me explain. Ilostan Academy, besides having strong faculty, also has distinct competition. A represents top tier, B represents elite, C represents advanced, D represents intermediate, E represents basic, and lastly F. The bottom tier, that's right. That's where Mafala and I are. Looking at this rundown classroom, Mafala freaked out. No way. I'm a noble lady. Am I going to have classes in a place like this from now on? I consoled Mafala. I'm even a princess, and I'm also in this classroom. Accept it. The imperial princess, actually assigned to the school's lowest class. This is unacceptable. As Mafala and I were freaking out, we heard someone calling, "Young masters and misses of the bottom tier." We looked towards a voice. A man wearing an eye patch was sitting there looking at us. He's our homeroom teacher, Billy Porter. Obviously, everyone was very displeased hearing him say that. Although our class indeed has the title of bottom tier, saying it so bluntly would offend everyone in the class. Mafala has a hot temper. She directly shouted, "What do you mean?" I quickly held Mafala back. If I let her go over, who knows what would happen? That homeroom teacher stroked his chin. Did I say something wrong? You're all just a bunch of low talent, weak, unwanted failures. Mafala clenched her fists tightly. The homeroom teacher didn't care and continued. How do you all feel? Do you want to prove to me that you're all useful? Then first run to the top of this mountain. This is your first lesson. Looking at the towering mountain before us, I was a bit troubled. Can we do it? Mafala muttered. We must do it. Mafala glanced at the teacher's golden snitch. I don't want to be looked down upon by someone. The teacher's voice came from the golden snitch. Dear useless students, are you truly hopeless trash, or trash that can still be salvaged? It depends on whether you can get your student IDs at the mountaintop. By the way, the student ID serves as a pass. Without it, you might not be able to survive in the academy. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Mafala looked displeased. This person is really nasty. Looking at my classmates behind me, I became slightly worried. Could such a team really reach the mountaintop? Well then, let the test begin, Class F students. With the golden snitch's command, everyone started rushing forward. The cliff before us was much higher than we were. To get up, we could only climb with our bare hands. Although it was challenging, I started climbing without hesitation. Seeing my determination, my classmates followed suit. They also came up, but unexpectedly, during the climb, one female classmate missed her footing. She let out a scream. Just entering the academy and already facing a test. Students who don't pass the test won't be able to get the academy's student ID. Unexpectedly, during the test, a classmate fell off the cliff. That classmate who missed her footing was about to fall off the cliff. In urgency, I grabbed her hand. This scared Mafala and me, breaking us out in a cold sweat. Fortunately, nothing serious happened. From above, we gradually pulled up many classmates. The teacher, watching all this from behind the monitor, finally showed a smile. After making sure no one was left behind, we prepared to continue. But from behind came a loud shout, "Shelly." I hurried over to check. It turned out that the girl called Shelly was injured. It looked like she had twisted her ankle. I asked if any classmate knew healing magic. As soon as I finished, a classmate volunteered. Soon, Shelly's foot was healed by this enthusiastic classmate. The classmate didn't forget to remind Shelly that it's temporarily fine, but still needs some time to rest. Shelly's face looked terrible. When we helped Shelly up, she was shaking a bit. Then she suddenly started crying, shouting, "Aren't I just useless? I'm useless, so what?" To our surprise, after hearing Shelly's words, Mafala slapped Shelly across the face. Shelly was stunned by this slap. I had never seen Mafala so angry. Her eyes fixed on Shelly. Say that again. Seeing this situation, I quickly held Mafala back. Mafala, why do this? On the other side, classmates were comforting Shelly. Shelly, are you okay? Mafala almost shouted, if you're content being useless, then be useless for the rest of your life. After saying that, she turned to leave. I chased after Mafala, trying to catch up to her. My memory was suddenly pulled back to the plot of the original book. It was at this plot point. Aphilo and Mafala had a big argument due to disagreement. Aphilo became sworn brothers with the like-minded Shelly. But in the end, when identifying the Emperor's murderer, Shelly betrayed Aphilo and accused him of being the killer. In Mafala's side story, it did mention why Mafala was so angry. Mafala, the second daughter of the Max Vito family, seemed arrogant and willful on the surface, but in reality, her magical power was weak. She wasn't as capable as her elder sister, nor as likable as her younger sister. Being the middle child, she was neither here nor there, gradually being neglected. To gain attention, she gradually became the overbearing, unreasonable person she is now. Come to think of it, Mafala's experience and personality are quite similar to Aphilo's. After Emma was brought back, she was inferior to this princess who grew up in the slums in every way. Aphilo gradually became neglected. The word they both said the most, and also hated hearing the most, was useless. In my previous life, I chose the wrong friend and was tragically betrayed. This time, I don't want to lose the person who could truly be a good friend again. I turned to Shelley and said, "Do you know who is truly useless? Someone who believes themselves to be useless." I turned back to chase after Mafala, leaving Shelley repeating what I said to herself. Someone who believes themselves to be useless? Now, Mafala was like a porcupine. I caught up to her, and she asked impatiently, "What do you want?" "I'm here to try not to be useless." Mafala's expression finally softened a bit. She turned to me and said, "Whatever." And so, Mafala and I started running towards the mountaintop again. Soon, a large group of classmates caught up from behind. In this class, there were many people like Aphilo and Mafala. While running, Shelley noticed Mafala looking at her. She defiantly turned her head away. Mafala and I exchanged a glance, both thinking the same thing. We refuse to be the useless ones in others' eyes. We only have one goal, and that's the peak. The class teacher was also watching us through the screen. As the sky darkened, I panted and looked at Mafala wiping her sweat. We finally made it. Looking at the brilliant colors in the sky, I thought, how beautiful. This is the view only visible from the peak. Watching our classmates still running hard below, I felt quite emotional. Perhaps Mafala's slap had an effect. Some people stood up again. Maybe our talents are really poor. Maybe our personalities are really not likable, but we have our own persistence. No matter what, we will reach the peak. We stood on the mountaintop, watching the setting sun. At that moment, we seemed to be enveloped in dazzling light. I knew it wasn't the sun's light, but the light of our firm beliefs shining. The teacher appeared at this moment. "Looks like you're not all useless after all." We all became alert as we looked at this teacher, who seemed to have ill intentions. The teacher waved his hand. "No need to be so tense. Your class is already over." Saying this, he tossed us each a bottle. "Go home and have a good bath." Although he casually tossed the items to us, he was actually quite pained inside. These things were very expensive. As a princess of the empire, I encountered a devil teacher right after entering school. But fortunately, we all passed the devil teacher's test. Mafala quickly came over to see what the teacher gave us. "What did that guy give?" It was a beautiful green bottle. I picked it up and asked Mafala. The teacher said 1 bottle each, but there's only one here. "How do we divide this?" Mafala took it and examined it carefully. There seems to be traces of spatial magic on this. Unexpectedly, Shelley, who had just been hit by Mafala, stepped forward. "Can I try?" After handing the bottle to Shelley, Shelley made just a simple gesture, and the spatial magic was deciphered. The ground was instantly filled with identical small bottles. Mafala was also shocked. "It can be done like this?" Shelley rarely became proud. "What's so difficult about this?" "There's spatial folding on it. Once the magic is undone, it returns to its original state." I quickly picked up the small vials from the ground. "Anyway, this is a good thing. 1 bottle each, everyone. Be careful. The teacher said these potions are very expensive." "Thank you, Teacher Eliva." On her way down the mountain, Eliva sneezed loudly. "Who's thinking of me?" Looking at Teacher Eliva seriously lecturing on the podium, I thought, so she can teach normally too. The bell rang. Eliva called out, "Class dismissed," and everyone gradually left the classroom. Campus life seems peaceful and beautiful so far. Mafala stretched lazily. "Finally, class is over. What should we eat for lunch?" He smiled to her. "Let's decide when we get to the cafeteria." Shelley suddenly emerged from a corner. Since that assessment, Shelley seemed to have developed indescribable feelings for Mafala. Looking at Mafala, I couldn't help but laugh as I held my forehead. Shelley walked up to Mafala. Mafala, can I invite you to have lunch together later? Sorry, I'm going to eat with my roommates later. Mafala rejected her quite decisively. She turned and left with me. Shelley stood there, staring at our backs motionlessly. She didn't react, even when people around her nudged her. After being dazed for a long time, Shelley suddenly cupped her face, looking like spring had arrived. She just smiled at me. In the cafeteria, I encountered my green tea sister. What strange experience will come next? Mafala and I walked to the cafeteria entrance. We saw Weddy, Mary, and Padlet waiting for us. Weddy was even waving at me from afar. The group entered the cafeteria, chatting and laughing. The cafeteria food was quite good. Even Mafala, a noble lady, was amazed. There are so many dishes. It was very similar to my high school cafeteria. Weddy didn't understand what I was saying. I quickly told Weddy it was nothing, scared that I almost revealed I was from another world. After we got the food we wanted, we started looking for a place to sit. At that moment, we saw Emma. She waved at me. Afalo, over here. It's Emma. Let's go there. Surprisingly, Light was there too. Emma introduced me to her roommates. This is Crola. Crola nodded at me. This is Ace. And this is Felina. Hello, I'm Afalo. Ace said, I know you. I was surprised and asked, really? Perhaps Emma had already told them about me. Ace replied, of course. You're quite famous. Famous for being the useless princess without magic power. This caught me off guard. Who would have thought someone could say such things with a kind face? Mafala was even angrier than me. She clenched her fists, ready to charge over. What do you mean? Ace persisted. Well, isn't it true? Weddy's face also darkened. Padlet was defending me. Miss Ace, do you know what you're saying? The atmosphere at the table became very tense. I quickly tried to smooth things over. Everyone, I understand. You're all trying to speak up for me. But what she said is indeed true. Seeing everyone defending me, Ace immediately backed down. I didn't mean to offend. It's just what everyone says. Crola quickly grabbed Ace's hand. I apologize. Ace can be quite blunt sometimes. Emma also stepped in to speak for them. I'm sorry, Afalo, for causing you trouble. I waved my hand. It's fine. With that, the cafeteria incident came to an end. Everyone finally started eating peacefully. Since coming to this school, there have been too many strange things happening. We can't even eat in peace. As we were eating, I suddenly became curious. By the way, Light, where are your roommates? Light said he had something to discuss with Emma, so he didn't come with his roommates. I found it a bit strange. Light and Emma had just met. What could they have to discuss? Maybe it's because they're both in the Magic Academy. And in novels, it's normal for the male and female leads to be together often. Emma handed me a box. Oh, Afalo, these are cookies I made in baking class. For me? Emma, you even have baking in your curriculum? It's an elective. We can take home what we make in class, so I made extra for you. I was deeply touched. My sister was thinking of bringing me food even during class. After thanking Emma, Emma took out a scroll. And this, I made in class, though its effect might not be as good as those sold in stores. Ace, seeing Emma give me the scroll, was incredibly envious. Sister Emma is so nice to Afalo. I begged for those cookies for so long and didn't get any. And now Emma's handmade magic scroll. Unlike me, who Emma just sends away to make my own. I heard what Ace said. It reeked of jealousy. I quickly thanked Emma, thinking that since I have no magic power, it's not really a secret. Might as well take it. Besides, it's made by the future great magician, the female lead. After the meal, Emma asked me, Afalo, are you going to the library later? I'm not sure. It depends on my roommates. Mafala said, I'm so tired from classes today. I want to go back and take a nap. Padlet said, Mary and I are going to warm up for the afternoon training class. I was surprised. You're warming up this early? Little did I know that just turning my head would lead to a big mistake. The broken tray in my hands suddenly hit the person in front. Food juices splashed all over them. I quickly apologized. I'm sorry. Are you okay? The person's tone was very unpleasant. A curt move aside scared me into stepping back. I saw him snap his fingers. His clothes were instantly clean as new. He asked for my class name without any courtesy. Emma's face turned pale when she saw who it was. Oh no, this is our magic teacher, Morius. He hates people with low magic power the most. I was startled. What do you mean I'm done for? When will this world that values magic power above all else change? I accidentally spilled leftovers on the school's famous, merciless teacher. I heard this teacher hates people with low magic power the most. What should I, who has no magic power, do? Although I was scared, I honestly reported my class and name. Class F, Afalo. The teacher was a bit surprised when he heard my name. Afalo, the rumored useless princess without magic power? I was a bit embarrassed. The rumors are indeed true. Mafala couldn't hold back anymore. Padlet quickly held Mafala back. I also turned to tell Mafala I was fine. Only then did Mafala calm down. Weddy also looked at me with concern. The teacher continued, "At least you have some self-awareness. Although I indeed have no magic power, as a princess of the empire, how could I be easily looked down upon? I know I have no talent in magic, but I will definitely work hard in martial arts." After saying this, a beam of light seemed to shine through the window, illuminating my face. The teacher just looked at me like that. After a while, he turned away. "I hope so," he said, then left without any further courtesy. Mafala was still upset. "What kind of person is that?" She then turned to Padlet and complained, "Why did you stop me just now? Not letting me speak up for Aphilo. That was a teacher you offended. You won't have any easy days in class from now on." "So what?" Woody was a bit worried. "My princess. It's sorry, Weddy." Emma also came over. "I'm sorry, Afalo. I didn't expect the teacher to treat you like that." Ace and Emma both spoke up for me. I couldn't help but say a few words. Earlier in class, he had a strange attitude towards those who weren't doing well. This treatment of Aphilo is already considered not bad. At least there was no punishment. That's so scary. If there was punishment, I'd be done for. So should I be grateful? After all this commotion, we finally returned the tableware. When saying goodbye to Emma, she didn't forget to remind me, I should go. "Aphilo, remember to take care of yourself. Those scrolls can protect you when necessary." "I know. Thank you, Emma. What's up with my roommates? They're crazily gossiping about me and my guard. What should I do?" On the way back, Mafala was still indignant. I never thought that in the academy, there would also be teachers who judge people by their abilities. Seeing Mafala's fierce look, I didn't dare say anything. I could only smile at her. Mary, on the other hand, said dejectedly, "There are many people like that." Mafala didn't hear clearly what Mary said and asked what. Mary quickly waved her hand and said, "Nothing." Speaking of which, Mary is really amazing. Those noble families who have studied martial arts since childhood are not as good as Mary's self-taught martial arts. "Why don't you teach me too, Mary?" "Oh, you're exaggerating." Mary was being modest. The light in her eyes instantly dimmed. "Those are just survival skills." We reached the fork in the road again. It was time to part with Weddy again. "See you tomorrow, Your Highness." See you tomorrow." I watched Weddy's retreating figure, feeling a bit reluctant. Mafala came over with a mischievous look. "Stop looking, he's gone far. You miss him that much." I blushed at Mafala's words. "What are you saying?" Although Weddy is Aphilo's guard, I heard he's also a prince of the Serenely Kingdom. After the Serenely Kingdom was defeated, nominally, Weddy came to study, but in reality, he was sent as a hostage to ensure the kingdom's stability. If Aphilo hadn't taken a liking to him, he probably wouldn't be in the academy with us now. I was so embarrassed by Padlet's words that I couldn't lift my head. Everyone was looking at me with gossipy expressions. Wow, this is so embarrassing. Stop. I lowered my head and quickly ran towards the dorm. Mafala still persisted. Don't scold. Tell us, what did you like about him at that time? Please don't mention it anymore." "Mafala, I think if you mention it again, Aphilo will really get angry." Finally back at the dorm. With a paw sound, Mafala turned off the light. The fatigue of the day finally eased a lot the moment I lay on the bed. But this didn't apply to Mafala. Just because Mary asked before sleeping, "I heard you climb mountains all day today." Mafala exploded. "You don't know how crazy that teacher is. He started by saying we're useless, all trash, then made us climb mountains. My legs are about to give out. Oh, if we let her keep talking like this, no one will be able to sleep tonight." I interjected, "But you still climbed to the top first. Not bad, right? Who do you think I am? What class do you have tomorrow? It's not mountain climbing again, is it?" Hearing Mary's words, Mafala and I let out a cry of dismay. It shouldn't be, right? Although the potion that teacher gave us did make us feel much better after soaking, it's not miraculous enough to heal completely in one day. I can still feel my legs shaking. All right, let's not worry about it too much. Let's just sleep first. We'll know when we wake up. Okay, good night. On the first day of school, I've already been mocked as useless by several people. As an imperial princess, how can I tolerate this? I need to start working hard. After saying goodnight to everyone, I gradually drifted off to sleep. Unfortunately, it wasn't a good dream. In the dream, the homeroom teacher and the teacher I bumped into, what they said to me, once again enter my mind. The rumored useless princess without magic power. I was so scared that I opened my eyes suddenly. This can't go on. I absolutely cannot become a truly useless person. I called out to my roommates. After confirming they were really asleep, I took out that necklace from under my pillow. Then I went out. What I didn't know was that Padlet wasn't asleep. She knew I went out. The academy was very cold at night. I could only warm myself by breathing out. I should have worn an extra coat. This should be the place, right? I didn't expect the academy to have such a remote place. I took out that necklace again, remembering what Neil said to me before I left. Your Highness, for your safety, I've modified this necklace into a magic tool. It will allow you to use magic freely. I've also arranged for a teacher to guide you in learning magic. I await your successful graduation and safe return. I hope that teacher will come tonight. Otherwise, I'll freeze to death. I sat on the steps, shivering. Suddenly, I heard a voice from beside me. You don't have to wait anymore, because the teacher has already frozen to death first. As soon as the voice finished, a dark shadow lunged straight at me. I was startled and stood up. Oh my God, who is it? It was the teacher I bumped into in the cafeteria today. Is he the teacher I was supposed to wait for? Are you the teacher I was supposed to wait for? What? Are you dissatisfied? How could that be? I never thought that the person who was so cold to me at noon today would become my tutor at night. Ace's words in my mind made me a bit nervous. Earlier in class, he had a strange attitude towards those who weren't doing well. This treatment of Afalo is already considered not bad. At least he didn't punish him. He wouldn't take this chance to punish me, would he? I imagined that teacher holding a whip about to hit me. What strange things are you thinking about? Lord Tamaniel, are all the people around you this weird? I felt a bit embarrassed that my thoughts were seen through. I just didn't expect the teacher to be the one Neil mentioned. The teacher in front of me suddenly widened his eyes. He suddenly bristled. He just called him Lord Tamaniel, the teacher from another class that Neil offended during the day. At night, he became my private tutor. What should I do? I saw that serious-faced teacher suddenly kneel on the ground and start crying loudly. Heavens, I didn't even dare to call him Lord. Such an intimate name, yet he could use it. Teacher, are you all right? Tell me what your relationship with Lord Neil is. The teacher pointed his staff at me, suddenly filled with killing intent. I quickly explained, I'll tell you. That Neil, he's actually my butler. Hearing the word butler, the teacher started to fantasize. Dear Miss Molly, would you like some red tea tonight, or would you like me, Lord Tamaniel? Please don't imagine strange things. Neil is just a normal butler. Am I the weird one, or is this teacher weird? The teacher coughed, pretending to be calm, as if the person who was just fantasizing wasn't him. He introduced himself to me. You can call me Gamorius. Lord Neil sent me to teach you magic. Every Monday, Thursday, and Sunday at 1 a.m. I'll be waiting for you here. He suddenly came close to me. You and Lord Neil really don't have that kind of relationship. No, really no. My hands were waving faster than windshield wipers. I was very confused. Why did Neil send his fangirl to be my teacher? Finally, we entered teaching mode. The teacher asked me to sense the magic around me and find the brightest flame. I told him it was a purple flame. He asked me to try to control that magic. I did as he said. The necklace on my neck also emitted a strong light as I controlled it. That magic suddenly appeared in my hand. I succeeded. Teacher Morius praised me for having talent, but I think it should be credited to Neil's necklace. To allow me to use magic, Neil specially made a magic tool that can store some magic for personal use. Things given by Neil are naturally not bad. Hearing me praise Neil, Teacher Morius acted as if I was praising him. He was happy and even changed his way of addressing me. What kind of relationship do he and Neil have? By the way, Teacher Morius, how did you and Neil get to know each other? Lord Neil and I. That's a long story. The name Neil seemed like a switch, instantly turning the serious teacher into a fangirl. I shouldn't have asked that question. I quickly interrupted the teacher and continued learning about magic. Finally, I heard the teacher say, "Let's end here for today." I immediately collapsed on the ground. Finally, it's over. The Imperial Princess meeting with a guard late at night. Is it extra practice or a date? The next evening, I came to the place where I agreed to meet Vedi as promised. Today I wore a pretty dress specially. I saw Vedi coming. I happily greeted him. Vedi, I don't know if I saw wrong, but I felt like there was a slight blush on Vedi's face. He walked up to me. I'm here. We didn't waste words and started practicing right away. With each move, I could feel my own progress. Now, besides Teacher Billy Potter and Teacher Morius, I have another teacher in Vedi. During daytime classes, I showed great improvement when sparring with Teacher Billy Potter. Every movement was crisp and clean. Teacher Billy Potter was surprised by my progress. Not bad. You've improved a bit. Thank you, teacher. I was glad that my practice was effective, but it was too energy-consuming. On the way to the cafeteria, Blair noticed my fatigue. Alfaro, are you okay? Of course, I smiled and answered, I'm fine. Life now is a bit like my previous life when I was studying hard. Mafala was a bit unhappy. What would be wrong with him? We agreed to be lazy together, but you've been secretly practicing behind my back. So everyone already knew. I felt a bit embarrassed. That was unexpected, but he also looked like his secret had been discovered. Mafala turned her head away with a humph. It happened like this. That day, Vedi and I were practicing as usual. Vedi was also rarely pushed back by my attacks. I remember Vedi said that day, my martial arts foundation was already good enough. That made me happy for a long time. Vedi also taught me how to combine martial arts with magic. For attacks, I learned it right away. So magic could be used like this. Vedi's attention wasn't on the fact that I learned it so quickly. Instead, he was staring at the necklace Neil gave me, lost in thought. I called him several times before he came back to his senses. Are you okay? I'm fine, Your Highness. Your necklace. It's a gift from Neil. Is that it? Vedi's expression seemed a bit off. I held onto the necklace, feeling a bit uneasy. It was the first time I was this close to my childhood friend. We're just friends, aren't we? Did Vedi discover something? After all, before leaving, Neil had warned me not to tell anyone about the necklace's function to avoid others coveting it. Vedi picked up my necklace, looking worried. This necklace looks very valuable. It's better to wear it inside after taking it off. Suddenly being so close to Vedi, my face turned red to the ears. I quickly moved away. I understand. But even after moving away, that feeling of blushing and heart racing didn't disappear. Oh, what's wrong with me? I quickly adjusted my state. We continued practicing. Finally, I waited for Vedi to say, let's stop here for today. Finally, it's over. With both martial arts and magic, my head was about to explode. Vedi said, becoming stronger isn't easy, naturally. Hearing this, I felt sour. Isn't this just showing off? Vedi himself learned quite easily. Seeing me sulk, Vedi became even gentler. All right, the ground is cold. Let's get up. I grabbed Vedi's outstretched hand. Maybe because I had spent too much energy practicing, when Vedi pulled me up, I couldn't control myself and fell towards him. Oh no, my heart is beating so fast. Vedi's face turned red too. Just as we were close, we saw something unusual in each other's eyes. Alfaro actually has a seal on her. The next day in class, I was a bit distracted. I was scribbling in my textbook with a pen. In my mind, the scene of Vedi and me practicing that day gradually appeared. He told me to wear the necklace inside. With Vedi's wisdom, he must have discovered something to say that, right? Mafala interrupted my thoughts. Oh, whose name are you writing? She said with a mischievous smile. I looked down. The name, Vedi, was clearly written in the textbook. I quickly covered the textbook. My face unexpectedly turned red again. Don't misunderstand. I was just thinking about something. Mafala had a look of someone who just heard juicy gossip. Oh, thinking about something. Writing someone's name. I waved my hands, trying to explain. No, it's not like that. Great, now I can't explain it clearly. Our academy's library is the most luxurious in the empire, and also the one with the most books. Rumor has it that there are many secrets in the academy's library waiting for us to explore. I'm not interested in these so-called secrets. I just want to find among these books if there's a way to break my seal. There are too many books. I couldn't find the book I wanted at the moment. Feeling a bit disappointed, I turned to leave. But unexpectedly, I bumped into a solid chest. I was in too much pain to speak. The other person immediately apologized. I'm sorry, miss. Are you all right? I looked up. The person I bumped into was actually Vedi. Vedi was also stunned when he saw me. Why is Vedi in the library? Naturally, I'm here to find books. Your Highness, isn't that obvious? You're here to find books. It's not like I'm here to play. Of course, I'm also here to find books. Vedi's red eyes looked at me. I think Your Highness is probably looking for books about seals, right? Indeed, Vedi had discovered that I have a seal on me. I didn't react with too much surprise. Instead, I was surprisingly calm. Well, Vedi, listen to me. I told Vedi everything about the seal in detail. After hearing what I said, Vedi sighed. Your Highness, there's no need to be nervous. I will help you search together. Search for what? I didn't quite understand what he meant. He continued, I wasn't sure before, but after hearing what Your Highness said, I will definitely help Your Highness break the seal. These words made me somewhat disbelieving. But Vedi, shouldn't you be the one who least wants me to break it? After all, I've treated you that way before. If it's broken, aren't you afraid I'll continue to hurt you like before? Vedi's hand gently rested on my face. He wanted to reassure me and said, because I believe in the current, Your Highness. I believe in the current, Your Highness. This sentence lingered in my mind for a long time. Even after returning to the dorm, I kept replaying Vedi's words in my head. Vedi's expression was so gentle. I was lost in thought, so much that I didn't even hear Mafala calling me. Mafala was so anxious, she kept waving her hand in front of my eyes, thinking I was possessed. It wasn't until Mafala raised her voice and shouted that I finally heard her calling me. What was I thinking about? I've been calling you for so long, and you didn't respond. Sorry, I was just thinking about something. What's the matter? I was just going to ask if you want to come with us to check out the Academy's club recruitment. The Academy's clubs are all strange and peculiar. Will anyone really join these kind of clubs? My 3 roommates were all standing in front of me, asking if I wanted to go see the Academy's club recruitment together. I was a bit confused. Club recruitment? Mary handed me a flyer. It's this. I took the flyer she handed over. Looking at it, there were several magical pets drawn on it. It read, "Want to stroke the fur of a fire spirit cat? Want to feel the gentleness of an explosive dog? Want to try getting close to a netherworld snake?" I was embarrassed. What is all this? Will anyone really go? Seeing my hesitation, Padlet continued to persuade me. This is just one of the club flyers. Mary and I passed by the Academy Square after class. There were countless clubs recruiting new members. There's a Magic Energy Research Society, a potion manufacturing group, and even some advanced magic nobility club, swordsmanship club, and so on. Mary and I passed by there, and we're almost buried in flyers. This is just one of the flyers. You work hard. Padlet, so come with us quickly. Clubs, hey. It must be fun. Mafala was acting more enthusiastic than usual, even coming up to give me a shoulder massage. I was a bit troubled. I won't go. I have an appointment later. I quickly ran away. Mafala stood there gossiping about a date problem, facing the question marks on Mary and Padlet's faces. Mafala said she had a dog outside, while I was waiting for Vedi at the library entrance. Mafala and the others secretly followed me. There really was something going on. The 3 of them were watching me from behind the bushes. Padlet asked if this was really okay. Mafala ignored him, focusing intently on my direction. Soon after, Vedi appeared. Mafala got excited and shouted, "It's actually true." Vedi seemed to hear the noise and turned to look towards the bushes. The bushes were quiet and peaceful. I was startled by Vedi's sudden movement. "What's wrong?" Vedi replied, "Nothing. It might have been my imagination." "Then let's go." Seeing Vedi and I enter the library, the people behind the bushes started trembling. Mafala even shouted, "That scared me to death. I, originally a princess of the empire with powerful magic and divine power, was sealed by my mother at birth, becoming the well-known, useless princess. Now it's time to break the seal." Since Vedi discovered the seal, we often research together on how to break it. Although the Academy's library has a vast collection, Vedi and I couldn't find any useful information. Holding the book in my hand, I felt a bit discouraged. I've lost count of how many books about seals I've read, yet none of them were related to the seal on me. Looking out the window, the leaves were turning golden. Time flies, it's almost autumn. Vedi walked to my side, carrying a stack of books. Seeing me lost in thought looking out the window, he asked with concern, "What's wrong, Your Highness?" As he spoke, he placed a tall stack of books on the table. I collapsed in exhaustion. How are there still so many? Your Highness's seal is too ancient. We can't trace its origin, so I can only search book by book. I pondered while holding the book. Although I roughly know that the seal my mother used should be from the church, since I started learning magic, I've sensed that besides that seal, there seems to be another mysterious restriction. A seal locks away power and can't be sensed, but a restriction allows sensing power, yet prevents its use. Remembering what that divination which boy said about the restriction on me, although he looks the same as Light, their personalities are very different. Light mentioned before that they know each other. Perhaps this could be a breakthrough. I was researching very seriously, not realizing it had gotten dark outside. I was still focused on the book in front of me. Suddenly, there was a click sound. I was startled. Turning to look, Vedi was standing at the end of the bookshelf. There was actually a secret room behind that wall. "Vedi, what's going on?" "I'm not sure either. I must have touched something that triggered it. It seems to be a secret room. The secret room leads underground. It's pitch black inside." I hesitated a bit. "Shall we go? I will protect Your Highness." Hearing Vedi say this, I entered without hesitation. Outside, Light had arrived at the library at some point. He discovered the books we were just researching. Emma approached Light and asked what was wrong. Light's expression was inscrutable. Someone was here just now. Perhaps they had something to do and left, forgetting to return the books. Perhaps. Light looked at the secret room entrance where Vedi and I had just entered. It was just an ordinary wall. We actually found a secret room in the Academy's library. The passage of the secret room was eerily quiet. Vedi's and my footsteps became very clear here. Wherever we passed, the lights in the corridor would automatically turn on. I was surprised. This was just like the secret room my mother prepared for me in my study. Vedi explained, "This is a magic-powered light. It automatically lights up when it senses people." Vedi pointed at the corridor lights and continued, "Judging by the illumination and the marks on the wall, this secret room must have been built a long time ago, and the person who built it must have been very powerful." Seeing the lights flicker, Vedi raised his hand, pulled back his coat sleeve, revealing the shirt button underneath. He gently touched it. With a flash of light, Vedi's accessory appeared in his hand. He looked at me seriously and said, "Your Highness, please follow behind me." I quickly nodded. "I understand." I followed behind Vedi for a while. I hesitated, but still asked, "Vedi, is that a magic tool too?" "A storage magic tool." Vedi raised his hand to show me. "This? Yes, indeed. Magic tools refer to objects modified by magic power. They could be jewelry or weapons. Anything can be modified by magic power. The effects after modification are also varied. They could be deadly weapons or precious, enhancing treasures. However, magicians who can modify objects are extremely rare, making magic tools hard to obtain. Among these, storage magic tools are the hardest to find. I didn't know why Vedi would possess such a precious item, but I believed that no matter what, Vedi would never harm me, so I didn't ask any further. As I was pondering, Vedi's voice reached my ears. "We've reached the end." The secret room was very spacious. It seemed empty. This isn't right. According to novel conventions, shouldn't this kind of secret room be holding some terrifying murderer or holding some rare treasures? This place must have countless traps and secret passages. Thinking this, Aphilo rummaged through his pocket. He pulled out a gold coin. Without thinking, Aphilo tossed it forward. The gold coin seemed to hit something in midair. Then it suddenly started burning. In no time, it turned to ashes. The secret room in the Academy library is full of traps. Will we be able to leave safely? The coin burned and turned to ashes in midair, falling to the ground. Aphilo was terrified. There really are traps. I don't remember this scene in the novel. Seeing this situation, Vedi also became tense. "It's a trap. We need to be careful." Vedi walked in front of me, taking a protective stance. "Your Highness, please stay close to me for the rest of the journey." I looked at his profile as he turned his head. I instantly felt much calmer. My previous panic disappeared. I obediently replied, "Okay." In my heart, I thought, "Oh no, I'm falling in love. He's so cool. When did this man become so charming?" Vedi held his sword, leading the way in front. I followed closely behind Vedi. Out of fear, I tightly gripped Vedi's sleeve. As we walked, I had a bad feeling. Sure enough, we seemed to have stepped on something we shouldn't have. The entire secret room suddenly began to shake, making a rumbling sound. Vedi immediately became alert. Looking at the ceiling of the secret room, he shouted, "It's coming." I swallowed hard in fear. Sure enough, countless red-tailed arrows instantly flew towards us. It seemed we were going to meet our end here today. Vedi raised his sword and started swinging. He blocked most of the red-tailed arrows, but the arrows seemed endless, continuously flying towards us. Vedi put down his sword. He suddenly picked me up. "Excuse me." Saying this, he carried me and quickly fled. In Vedi's arms, I saw arrows flying towards Vedi's back. I nervously shouted, "Vedi, behind you!" Vedi turned around. I was scared and closed my eyes. Vedi turned back and swung his sword, blocking the arrows. Then he retreated several steps, barely escaping the range of the arrow attack. In Vedi's arms, I couldn't recover for a long time. "It seems we've passed that trap array," Vedi said as he put me down. "Great." Finally on the ground, I calmed down a bit. Looking at the path we came from, I said to Vedi, "Setting up such traps, it seems this place is not simple." I didn't expect Vedi to be so amazing. Is that black flame Vedi's magic power? I've never seen black magic power before. Everyone says black represents bad omens. But for me, Vedi's black represents reassurance. Vedi was stunned by my words. He said to me with some disappointment, "But it's still ominous dark magic power." On the Imperial continent, most people are born with more or less magical power. Common ones include natural elemental powers, such as wind, water, fire, wood, earth, etc. There are also variant powers like lightning and ice. Rarer is the light attribute magic power, also known as divine power. Those with divine power often choose to communicate, study, and pass tests to enter the church, becoming priests. Dark magic power is even rarer than light divine power. It's the only power that can rival divine power. Lost in thought, Aphilo suddenly said, "No wonder Vedi is so strong." Vedi heard Aphilo mumble something and asked, "What?" Aphilo immediately panicked. Nothing. I'm sure I'll be up against the church in the future." Images of Emma and others flashed in my mind. There's no use thinking too much about it now. So I turned to Vedi and said, "Let's go." With Vedi protecting me, I feel at ease. Vedi was a bit dazed by my words. "Your Highness, the secret room ahead has reached its end." I confirmed it. It's a solid wall. No way out. I leaned tiredly against the wall. This secret room has too many traps. Seeing this, Vedi took off his coat and draped it over me. Then he turned his head away shyly. "The ground is cold. Your Highness, be careful not to catch a cold." Seeing Vedi's shy expression, I couldn't help but laugh. I understand. But after all this, I realize how weak I really am. I only survived thanks to Vedi. Thinking about it, I started to feel desperate. Am I really that weak? Vedi saw my sadness and didn't know how to comfort me. He became a bit flustered. "Your Highness has already tried very hard. It's just that there are too many traps here. There must be something important inside." After Vedi's words of enlightenment, I suddenly remembered that in the original novel, it was mentioned that there was a forbidden secret book in this academy. The church has been sending people to search for it, but never found it. It might be somewhere in this secret room. As I was thinking, I placed my hand on the ground. I didn't notice that the floor tile under my hand had sunk, accidentally entering the secret room, triggering a trap, life hanging by a thread. How to solve this crisis? It's up to just the two of us now. I was pondering about the forbidden secret book. I didn't notice that I had already triggered a mechanism. Damn, the wall behind me dropped down with a click. Losing my balance, I fell straight backwards. Vedi lunged forward to grab me. We both fell into the darkness together. The moment we fell, that disappeared wall instantly restored, as if nothing had happened. "Your Highness," Vedi grabbed my hand tightly. We fell uncontrollably downwards. Vedi held me firmly in his arms. With a thud, we crashed hard onto the ground. Vedi let out a muffled groan, but didn't let go of his embrace. I got up, holding my head, looking down at Vedi on the ground. In that moment, both of us blushed. We immediately distanced ourselves. Vedi turned his head to look at me. I felt so nervous. Oh no. What should I do in this awkward situation? What should I say? But just now, I think I touched his chest muscles. Too bad I didn't get to feel it properly. He seems to have a good body. Your Highness. Lost in thought, I didn't hear Vedi calling me until he suddenly came closer. I snapped back to reality. Feeling like I'd been caught doing something bad, I was startled. "W, what is it? We seem to be trapped." It must be because I was too excited earlier. I accidentally triggered a mechanism, so we fell down here. Vedi explored a bit. All four sides look the same. We can't tell where we are anymore. I'll get up and look for an exit first. After a while, I collapsed on the ground, exhausted. Looking at my hopeless face, Vedi comforted me. "Let's rest for a while and think of a plan." Actually, if I hadn't said we should enter that secret room, we wouldn't be trapped here, right? I curled up, feeling guilty. If only I were stronger, Vedi wouldn't have to protect me so hard. Vedi looked embarrassed. "Your Highness, why would you think that?" I looked up, my expression turning fierce. If I hadn't touched that mechanism, we wouldn't have fallen in here. Seeing this, Vedi's pupils suddenly contracted. He grabbed my shoulders. "Your Highness, your current state is a bit off." At this point, I could no longer hear any outside voices. I just kept blaming myself. It's all because of me. We're trapped here waiting to die. Seeing me like this, Vedi also became anxious. He shouted loudly, "Your Highness!" Then he immediately realized there was dark magic in this secret room. Seeing me becoming more and more delusional, Vedi gritted his teeth and said, "I'm sorry, Your Highness." He then held Aphilo's face and kissed him. Their lips slowly pressed together. Aphilo's lips were soft, like fluffy candy. Aphilo stopped struggling. He stared blankly at Vedi. The usually calm Vedi was breathing heavily. He felt like he could lose control at any moment. Reluctant to leave Aphilo's lips, seeing his expression return to normal, he suddenly collapsed. Vedi quickly caught Aphilo gently. After an unknown amount of time, Aphilo barely managed to open his eyes. Covered with Vedi's coat, he weakly looked at Vedi. "Your Highness, you're awake. Vedi's concerned gaze confused Afalo greatly. What happened to me? After struggling to sit up, Vedi told Afalo, Your Highness was previously corrupted by dark magic. You almost committed suicide. Almost committed suicide. Afalo was startled by these words. What? I actually had thoughts of suicide. Dark magic is said to have the ability to bewitch people's hearts and bring out their darkest sides. That's terrifying. He couldn't help but shudder. He continued to ask, Was it Vedi who pulled me out of that state? Hearing this, Vedi froze. He didn't dare look at Afalo directly. He said softly, Dark magic can absorb each other. He couldn't possibly tell His Highness that to save him, he had forcefully kissed him. Afalo's face showed sudden realization. I see, but why is Vedi's face so red? Is absorbing magic that exhausting? The scene in Vedi's mind couldn't be erased. Worried that Afalo might mind this incident, he tentatively asked, Your Highness, about what happened earlier. About earlier? Afalo looked innocent. What happened earlier? I don't remember. Vedi couldn't tell if he should feel relieved or disappointed. Seeing Vedi's odd expression, Afalo suddenly stood up. When my mind was corrupted, did I do something bad? No, nothing happened. Afalo began inspecting Vedi, afraid he might have hurt him earlier. Did I hit you? Did I kick you? Are you injured? Any hidden injuries? This made the already embarrassed Vedi turn bright red. He quickly grabbed Afalo's hands. Your Highness, you're overthinking it. After transmigrating into the book, I unexpectedly found the original male and female leads. The forbidden secret book that couldn't be found anywhere. After Vedi calmed me down, he told me that all the dark magic here had disappeared. The exit should appear now. As soon as he finished speaking, the secret room began to shake violently again. Vedi and I could barely stand steady. However, the exit Vedi mentioned didn't appear. Instead, a small platform slowly rose from the ground. I opened one eye to peek secretly, holding on to Vedi, unwilling to let go. It's over. I quickly noticed the small platform that had risen behind us. Surprised, I shouted, What's that? Vedi heard and looked over too. On that small stone pedestal, there was a very ancient-looking book. The pedestal was faintly glowing with a golden light. Vedi carefully examined this book. Stroking his chin, he said, A book. This must be what the secret room was protecting. Hearing Vedi say this, I was shocked. Could this be the forbidden secret book? The forbidden secret book, legendary book, said to contain all the magic on the continent. Possessing it means possessing the entire continent. Vedi was brave. He directly took the secret book and started browsing it. The moment he opened it, I saw his whole body visibly pause. I quickly moved closer to the book. What's wrong? Vedi excitedly grabbed my hand. His tone couldn't hide his joy. Your Highness, in here, there's a high chance of finding a way to break the seal on you. My attention wasn't on whether the book could break my seal at all, but on Vedi's hand holding mine. For some reason, my heart suddenly started beating faster. The temperature of my palm rose rapidly. Vedi also sensed the abnormality. He quickly let go of my hand. We both didn't dare to look at each other and hurriedly turned our backs. After a while, we both calmed down. Vedi bowed to me and apologized. Your Highness, I was disrespectful. I was also a bit embarrassed. It's fine. Vedi quickly turned around, covering his mouth with his hand. Damn, what was I just doing? I hope His Highness didn't think too much of it. He turned back to steal a glance at Afalo. Unexpectedly, when Afalo saw Vedi turn back, he asked again, What's wrong? Vedi's expression made his heart start racing again. His gaze unconsciously shifted to Afalo's rosy lips. Watching those small lips call his name. How can there be such an overthinking boy? Unexpectedly, when Afalo saw Vedi turn back, he asked again, What's wrong? Vedi's expression made his heart start racing again. His gaze unconsciously shifted to Afalo's rosy lips. Watching those small lips call his name, Vedi couldn't help but let his imagination run wild. Suddenly realizing what he was thinking, Vedi slapped himself on the forehead. What am I thinking? Stop it, I can't. Behind him, Afalo was confused. What is Vedi doing? Vedi turned around. Trying to appear calm, he said to Afalo, I'm fine, Your Highness. After saying this, Vedi started flipping through the book again. He had just glanced at the contents of this book. It was all about magic-related things. It even had records of ancient magic. If we could bring this book back for thorough research, breaking the seal on His Highness would be within reach. After hearing this, I was slightly surprised. Then I fell in a deep thought. Indeed, in a secret book that records all the magic of the continent, there must be records about magical seals. But would the Academy let us take this book out? Never mind, don't think too much about it. Let's take this opportunity to find the records about the seal first. I looked at Vedi seriously and calmly told him to find the records about the seal first. Unexpectedly, before we could start searching, the secret room made a loud noise again. Vedi and I were both startled. I held the secret book close to my chest and asked Vedi what was happening. Before we could react, the wall of the secret room suddenly cracked. With a boom, a large hole appeared in the wall. Behind it stood the academy's principal and teachers. They had come to rescue us. The principal's eyes were full of concern. Seeing me, he quickly called out, "Your Highness Aphilo, are you all right?" Seeing the principal's concern, I quickly bowed. "Principal, thank you for your concern. I'm Euphina." The principal's expression immediately relaxed. That's good, that's good." Professor Billipot, seeing me, anxiously shouted, "You've grown bolder, haven't you? A little progress, and you start getting cocky." Professor Moriarty was pulling Vedi's ear, saying, as the princess's personal guard, "How could you join in her mischief?" The principal's thick white beard couldn't hide his kind smile. He persuaded the two teachers, "Come now, it's good that the children are safe." Unexpectedly, Vedi had secretly taken the treasure. He had secretly stored away. The kind old principal patted my head and said gently, "Your Highness, please don't enter such secret rooms carelessly next time." I answered obediently, "I understand." The next second, the principal's expression turned serious. "The secret room is full of traps. Did your Highness encounter anything strange?" I clearly felt the principal's gaze become sharp, like the suddenly appearing book. I was about to answer when Vedi grabbed my sleeve. He stepped in front of me to answer. "Principal, we didn't see anything." I looked at Vedi with some surprise. Only then did I realize that in the previous chaos, I hadn't noticed that the book had disappeared. It's better to keep the book a secret. After all, it's something coveted by all parties. Following Vedi's lead, I continued speaking while pretending to recall. The secret room was empty. We didn't see any strange books. Seeing that we couldn't say anything, the principal only said, "That's good then," and said nothing more. I looked at Vedi's hands behind his back. I vaguely saw his sleeve flash for a moment. The principal pointed at the large hole in the wall and said to us, "Let's go out first. Don't accidentally come in here again in the future." "Understood, Principal." We followed the principal out of the secret room. The messy and broken walls became empty. After returning, Vedi and I immediately apologized solemnly to the principal. "We won't dare to do again." The principal was very forgiving. "It's good that you know your mistake. Don't worry your teachers again. Go back and rest early. You have classes tomorrow." I bowed deeply to the principal. "Thank you, Principal. If you hadn't saved us, we might have been trapped in the secret room forever." After that, Vedi led me back. The principal watched our backs as we left, lost in thought. Professor Billipot walked up to the principal and asked if it was really okay to let us leave like that. The principal's expression changed slightly. "They don't know anything. It probably hasn't started yet. Otherwise, when we entered the secret room, we would have only found those two children's corpses." Then, the principal instructed the two teachers to reinforce the secret room. No one else should be able to enter. My guard took advantage of the chaos to bring out the crucial, forbidden secret book from the secret room, all to help me break the seal. That night, Professor Moriarty's special training class. Today, Professor Moriarty seemed to have increased the intensity of the training. My back was exhausted. Finally, I heard the professor say, "That's all for today," just when I thought it was over. Unexpectedly, Professor Moriarty suddenly shouted at me angrily, "In the future, don't enter places you're not familiar with." He looked like he was about to swallow me whole. Aphilo could only say, "I understand." Seeing that Aphilo was scared, Moriarty didn't say much more. "That's it then. Rest well for the next couple of days." As soon as Moriarty left, Vedi arrived. I was a bit surprised to see Vedi. After all we've been through today, I thought Vedi would rest well. He wouldn't come again, but I couldn't help feeling extremely happy. For some reason, seeing Vedi just made me happy. Vedi didn't look very happy. He said to me seriously, "Your Highness, there's something I want to tell you." I was a bit confused. What did Vedi want to say? Vedi suddenly raised his hand. A magical flame instantly appeared in his palm. Before speaking, as Vedi spoke, he used magic to surround us. I was a bit confused and asked Vedi what this was. Vedi replied, "It's a barrier-like magic. It can block sight and sound." That's amazing. I marveled at Vedi's ability, but also felt a bit worried. Was Vedi going to say something secret? Vedi sighed. He lightly touched his sleeve. I knew that was his magic storage device. To my surprise, Vedi took out the forbidden secret book from his magic storage. This really scared me. Vedi had secretly brought out such an important item. Holding the book, Vedi said to me, "The forbidden secret book can help your Highness break the seal." I was a bit panicked. After all, this was no small matter. The book before me was no ordinary book. How did you bring this out? Wasn't in the secret room. Did you go back in? Vedi replied somewhat embarrassedly. I hid it before the principal and others came in. So it turned out that just as the principal broke through the wall, Vedi quietly moved his sleeve close to the forbidden secret book. He put the forbidden secret book into his magic storage device. So it was hidden away at that time. I was wondering how it disappeared from my hand in the chaos when it was there just a moment ago. Vedi approached me with the book. Your Highness, please try it. The forbidden secret book actually flew into my body. What should I do? Am I going to die? Looking at Vedi, I didn't know how to react for a moment. My heart was filled with emotion. I was stunned for a long time. I finally took the forbidden secret book from Vedi's hand. At that moment, I was a bit nervous. Could this legendary book, which recorded all the magic on the continent, really break the seal on me? Even if there was only a glimmer of hope, I had to try my best. Gathering my courage, I opened the secret book. The secret book unexpectedly started floating uncontrollably. Then it began flipping its own pages with a rustling sound. The words in the book floated in the air like a holographic projection. Several options appeared before my eyes. There were attack-type magic, defense-type magic, healing-type magic, and special magic. Looking at these words, I felt somewhat relieved. Fortunately, among the books my mother left behind, there were books about ancient characters. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be able to understand the options in this book. After scanning through everything, I found what I needed. Seal-type magic. I clicked on that option. The option instantly disappeared in the air. The forbidden secret book suddenly became agitated, shaking left and right incessantly. Then it soared high into the air. I had no idea what was happening. I was completely confused. Seeing the abnormal behavior of the forbidden secret book, Vedi immediately became alert. After taking out a weapon from his magic storage device, he shielded me behind him. Your Highness, be careful. The book opened and closed a few times in the air, then fell straight towards me. It nimbly dodged Vedi's interception and plunged into my body in an instant. I weakly knelt on the ground, just as I was about to fall face first. Vedi quickly supported me. Your Highness, are you all right? I was still out of it. What was this situation? Did that forbidden secret book really fly in my body? I was panicked, and my face completely changed color. Vedi gently touched my shoulder. I turned my head to look at Vedi. Unable to control myself, I burst into tears. Seeing me cry, Vedi became flustered. His hands had nowhere to go. He could only tell me to calm down. I cried and shouted for help. Vedi kept comforting me. It's okay, it'll be fine. The forbidden secret book, fought over by various factions, had actually flown into my body. Was it recognizing me as its master or viewing me as a vessel? Vedi and I sat under the streetlight, lost in thought. I started trying to use magic power to see if the forbidden secret book entering my body had already broken the seal on me. However, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't summon any magic power. Vedi also watched me nervously. I lower my spell-casting hand helplessly. It's not working. There's no response at all. Vedi rubbed his chin, pondering, it shouldn't be like this. Given the situation earlier, the secret book should have recognized your Highness as its master. Generally, magical artifacts that recognize masters have their own spirit. Your Highness should at least be able to sense the book's spirit inside. Aphilo said hopelessly, but I can't sense anything at all. Vedi looked at Aphilo thoughtfully. Could it be that it wasn't recognizing a master, but seeking a vessel? I was startled by Vedi's words. What vessel? Vedi explained to me. Powerful magical artifacts, besides recognizing masters, can also produce soul spirits. When their own magical power is too strong and could cause harm, they seek vessels to reside in, preventing magical power leakage. Hearing Vedi's words, Aphilo was instantly thunderstruck. So, I'm actually just a vessel? With this, the secret room incident finally came to an end. Life returned to normal. After botany class that day, Mafala approached with a gossipy look. Looks like someone's here to pick someone up after class. I quickly told Mafala not to talk nonsense. After saying goodbye to Mafala, I was about to leave. Just as I was about to walk up to Vedi, I heard Mafala say behind me, go on, go on. Don't let me interrupt your date. Mafala's words about a date made me freeze on the spot. See me like this, Vedi? Curiously asked, what's wrong? To avoid further misunderstandings, I pulled Vedi along. Nothing. let's go, let's go. As we walked, I told Vedi about the book situation. No matter how I called, no book spirit appeared. In the end, I had to give up. In my mind, I recalled the scene of trying to summon the book spirit that day. The forbidden secret book with supreme power had actually recognized me as its master. Unfortunately, the book spirit was injured, and I couldn't summon it. Vedi thought for a moment and replied, after I went back, I looked it up. Your Highness's situation at that time should undoubtedly be the book spirit recognizing its master. If some books are damaged, it can affect the book spirit as well. There are also cases of injured book spirits. Although the book is intact, the magical power attached to it would be dimmed. The secret book we saw was complete, but its magical power should have been stronger. Hearing Vedi's explanation, I seemed to understand something. So the book itself was injured. That's why it chose to recognize me as its master to recover inside my body. Vedi seemed to agree with my view. He nodded, indicating affirmation. Feeling encouraged, I continued. Then when the book spirit recovers, we'll be able to see it. At that time, we can know the content I want. Although Vedi might not be certain, he didn't want to discourage me. He gave an ambiguous answer. I think so. We were so engrossed in our conversation that we didn't notice someone coming around the corner. We unexpectedly bumped into the newcomer. I stepped back in pain. Vedi quickly steadied me. The person we bumped into was a red-haired boy. To my surprise, he yelled louder than I did. He was holding his head and crying, ouch, ouch. The people around him were also asking if he was okay. I was speechless. I had bumped into his chest, so why was he holding his head and yelling so loudly? Before I could think more, he shouted at me, "Who's so blind to bump into this prince?" Looking closely, it was, I sarcastically said, "Oh, isn't this the weird princess from the Rayfist Empire?" He looked familiar. I felt like I'd seen him somewhere before, so I searched my memory for his face. Before I could figure out who he was, he continued to mock me while clutching his chest. Indeed, spending too much time with Vedi has made you just as ridiculous as him. As he was saying this, I finally remembered. Wasn't this the coward I met on the first day of school? He's actually Vedi's younger brother, the fourth prince of the Seven Lili Kingdom, Wilno Saprolo. Both are princes of Seven Lili, but how come Vedi's brother is so unlikable? In the original story, there wasn't much mention of the neighboring Seren Lili Kingdom. It only mentioned that the neighboring country had 7 princes, with Vedi being the third. This Wilno is the fourth, but he hates being called the fourth prince, because it makes him feel like he's overshadowed by Vedi. I hadn't said a word, but he started making a fuss. A princess abandoning magic to study some crude martial arts. Haha, that's right. What's a girl learning martial arts for? To punch my chest with your soft little fists. I wasn't angry, just speechless. Were these guys here to make jokes? So childish. Vedi couldn't tolerate me being mocked like this. His face was already very grim. His fists were clenched tightly, as if he might punch this person at any moment. Seeing this situation, Wilno provocatively said, "What? Want to fight?" He wagged his finger, saying, "Fighting within the academy will be punished, you know." Seeing Vedi's grim face, Wilno took on a victorious pose. He started laughing hee-hee in front of Vedi. Vedi's face instantly became as cold as thousand-year-old frost. If this continued, they might really start fighting. The situation was very awkward. At this moment, an intimate, melodious voice came from the woods, addressing Wilno. I've long heard that Prince Wilno is very accomplished in magic studies. Now I see he's accomplished in other areas too. The speaker was none other than my sister Emma. Smiling, Emma was unsurprisingly accompanied by Light. Light seemed to find this kind of thing very contemptible and couldn't even be bothered to look at Wilno properly. Seeing it was Emma, Wilno respectfully bowed to her. "Greetings, Princess Emma. You flatter me too much." Emma continued smiling and said, "Not at all. Thanks for taking care of my little sister. I'd also like to exchange some magic with you to further our academic exchange." Hearing this, Wilno became nervous. Emma took my hand and looked at me. I was puzzled. Was she trying to avenge me? My sister, to avenge me, actually proposed to exchange magic with a prince from a neighboring country. Emma stepped forward. I think Prince Wilno wouldn't refuse me this small request. Light also reminded from the side, sparring doesn't violate academy rules. Emma clapped her hands. That's wonderful. Faced with the top student of the Magic Academy, Wilno was a bit troubled. "Princess Emma, I'm just a B-class student. How could I spar with an A-class student like you?" Emma waved her hand. It's fine. Academic exchange has nothing to do with class levels. I knew this sparring was bound to be ridiculous. As the more powerful imperial princess, initiating a spar with a clearly weaker prince from a neighboring country would damage the empire's dignity. I stopped Emma. Emma looked at me with some surprise. I walked towards Wilno with an expressionless face. This kind of thing should be handled by me to convince them. I clenched my fist, preparing to face Wilno. Seeing the situation, Wilno laughed. Ha! Convince us? With those weak little fists of yours, princess? When he said this, he deliberately emphasized the word princess. Vedi was very displeased seeing this. He immediately drew his weapon and walked to my side. Watch your tone. I waved Vedi back. Vedi, don't interfere. I'll follow your request. I'll punch your chest with my little fists. Wilno's group looked at each other. Then the three of them burst into laughter, holding their stomachs. Wilno pointed at me with 2 fingers. Yes, yes, yes. Come on, punch our chest with your cute little fists. Ha ha ha. Seeing that I was really going to fight, Emma was a bit worried. I comforted her. It's okay, Emma. Emma, I just don't know if they can withstand my little fists. I walked up to Wilno and looked up at him. He also looked down at me contemptuously. I waved my fist and said to Wilno, here I come. Wilno puffed out his chest, very confidently patting it. Come on, anytime. I held my breath and got into position. I swung my fist with all my might. The fist moved extremely fast, creating a slight breeze. With a whoosh, it landed on Wilno's chest with a bang. Wilno's expression changed instantly. I gave a punch to the neighboring prince who looked down on me. It directly stunned him. Emma covered her mouth in surprise. The usually calm Light didn't move much, but judging by his expression, he must have been quite surprised too. Wilno's little follower's jaws almost dropped to the ground. Vedi turned his head away, unable to bear watching this pitiful scene. My punch sent Wilno flying into the glass wall of the botanical garden, making a loud bang. Then he fell straight down, kneeling on the ground. His 2 followers quickly went to help him up. Fourth Prince, are you all right? To save face, Wilno didn't let his 2 followers help him. He shrugged them off and scolded. I told you not to call me Fourth Prince. I stood by, pretending to be innocent. Oh, I'm sorry. You told me to punch your chest with my little fists. I just didn't expect you to be so fragile. Seeing he was no match for me, Wilno hastily ran away with his 2 lackeys. He kept looking back as he ran. You just wait. I'll be back. I pretended to wipe sweat off my brow, feigning a regretful look. He ran away. Then I secretly rejoiced. Thankfully, I had Jocko as an enemy. That gave me enough confidence to face these people. Behind me, Emma called my name. I turned around to see Emma looking very concerned. She said to me, Afalo, are you all right? The way they spoke was really too much. I held Emma's hand and comforted her. I'm fine, really. Emma still seemed a bit worried, but I quickly put on a show of strength. Although I haven't studied magic, I can protect myself with martial arts. Let me tell you a secret. My martial arts were taught by a master. I put my hand beside my mouth, speaking mysteriously to Emma. Actually, I said this deliberately for Vedi to hear. Hearing this, Vedi coughed awkwardly. When I patted his shoulder, he froze in place. Light stood behind Emma. Since Princess Afalo says so, it seems there's no problem. No need to worry too much. Emma was a bit embarrassed by Light's words. All right, fine. Looking at these 2, I felt something was off. A sense of unease rose within me. I had just come to see the clubs with my best friend for the first time, yet my roommate had already joined club. This speed was too fast. As I was pondering what was wrong with Emma and Light, Vedi suddenly came to my side and said, Your Highness, it's lunchtime. Only then did I realize how late it was. It seems that Fourth Prince wasted quite a bit of our time. We informed Emma and Light that we had other matters and left first. After Emma waved goodbye to us, she didn't leave immediately. Instead, she stood there watching Vedi and me leave, her expression becoming very serious. To my embarrassment, as soon as I returned to the dorm, I saw Mafala emanating a dark aura. That Mafala, let me explain. Mafala could no longer contain his fury. He came up to me and demanded, We agreed to go see the clubs together, but you snuck off on a date. I'm sorry. I'll definitely go see the clubs with you this time. I had never seen Mafala with such a powerful aura before. He crossed his arms and uttered 6 words. Now. Right away. Immediately. I was stunned. Now? But I haven't eaten yet. Mafala grabbed my hand and started walking out. Then we'll go after eating. Before I could react, we were already at the square. The square was indeed lively, with all kinds of clubs. No wonder Mafala was so insistent on bringing me along. Mafala really seemed to enjoy this bustling atmosphere. Once we arrived, his eyes sparkled. Everything seemed to catch his attention. He had to look at everything. With such abundant energy, it's a good thing we came after eating. Otherwise, I couldn't have handled such an excited Mafala. Just then, Mafala suddenly grabbed me, pointing at the crowd near the clubs. Afalo, look, isn't that Mary over there? I looked in the direction Mafala was pointing. It was indeed Mary. She was holding a stack of flyers, enthusiastically handing them out. Was Mary helping to promote a club? Mafala and I exchanged glances. Could it be that Mary had already joined a club? At the club square, we encountered strange clubs and odd club leaders. Who knows what might happen? Mary was working hard to promote under the sun. Beads of sweat had formed on her forehead. We stood on the side for a long time. Mary didn't notice us until we called out to her. We waved at Mary. Mary asked Afalo with surprise, Afalo, Mafala, why are you here? I explained to her. I'm accompanying Mafala to check out club recruitments. We happen to see you. Mafala, as usual with his hot temper, said, You secretly joined a club behind our backs without telling us. Mary became nervous at Mafala's words. Well, it was because of an accident. Seeing Mafala's serious expression, Mary became too nervous to speak. Looking at Mary's flustered state, Mafala couldn't bear to tease her anymore. It was easy to guess that with Mary's personality, she probably couldn't refuse someone's plea. Mary was shocked by Mafala's words. How did you know? Knowing he guessed right, Mafala immediately became smug. Who am I? As we were talking, we heard someone calling Mary. Mary, are these new members you've recruited? Hearing this voice, Mary started sweating again. Oh no, it's the club president. Mary quickly pushed Mafala and me, saying, You should go now. This club isn't suitable for you. While the president hasn't come yet, quickly go check out other clubs. Mafala was a bit defiant. What's not suitable for me? I'm exceptionally talented. Is there a club that can't accept me? Just as Mafala finished speaking, the club president Mary mentioned was already standing in front of us with a beaming face. Mary finally has 2 new members. We must give them a proper welcome. How can we not treat them well? Mary thought to herself, it's over. We can't leave now. Then she explained to the boy in front of her, President, these are my roommates. They're not new members. Hearing they were roommates, the president immediately became excited. He grabbed Mafala and me and started a sales pitch. Oh, roommates, friends, come join our anti-aristocracy club. This strange club name confused me immediately. What club? There's even such a club? They don't accept royalty or nobility, but I'm an imperial princess. Seeing our confusion, the president immediately began to explain. Although we're a club formed by commoners, we study sword techniques diligently and hone ourselves, all for the day when we can surpass those royal nobles. Now I was embarrassed, because as an imperial princess, I was exactly the royalty the president wanted to surpass. And Mafala was undoubtedly a noble. Mafala touched her hair and said haughtily to the president, We are royal nobles. The president in front of us was instantly stunned, as if struck by lightning. What? Mary completely ignored the president, who was sulking in the corner, and pushed us, saying the club doesn't accept nobles or royalty. That's why I said this club isn't suitable for you. I felt a bit awkward, but still smiled and said to Mary, I guess we can only go check out other clubs then. So, we learned about many clubs at the club square. There was the mysterious Magic Research Club, the adorable Magical Pet Club, and the impressive-looking Swordsmanship Club. Mafala's attention was drawn to the ladies' club in front. The ladies in this club were all elegant and beautiful. Mafala immediately decided to join this club. I've decided. I'm joining this club. It perfectly suits my temperament. Wait, Mafala. At least learn more about it before considering joining. I had barely finished speaking when Mafala was already in the midst of the ladies' club crowd, waving at me. I'm already a member of this club. Afalo, go play by yourself. What the hell, Mafala? How can you be so hasty? Talk about burning bridges. Soon, my attention was drawn to a nearby club. This club looked very shabby. There was only a tattered tent, without even a proper sign. Just a broken wooden board hanging on the tent, reading Special Magic Research. A young man was sitting inside the tent. He looked quite unapproachable. Special magic sounds interesting. Maybe I should check it out. I walked up and greeted the young man sitting in the tent. Hello. Unexpectedly, this intimidating-looking young man was simply not fully awake. When I greeted him, he only looked up at me with sleepy eyes after I said hello. His name was Alua, the president of this special magic research club. He rubbed his eyes and asked, "Hello, classmate. What can I do for you?" I pointed at the club's wooden board and asked, "I'd like to know what this special magic refers to." Alua picked up something and explained to me, "Special magic refers to all magic except conventional magic." He handed me what he had picked up. "Would you like to take a look?" I took what he was holding. It was a promotional flyer about the club. As I looked at it, the president continued to introduce barriers, seals, beast taming contracts, and other uncategorized magic belong to special magic. That's what we research. Looking at this crudely designed flyer in front of me, I felt embarrassed. Would anyone really come with such an ugly flyer? Then I thought, sealing magic is also a type of special magic. Maybe in this club, there might be clues about the seal on me. Seeing me lost in thought, the president continued, "Don't misunderstand. We're not some weird club. It's okay if you're not interested. We're not a mainstream club anyway. It's been a long time since anyone came to our club. I thought I might as well take a look. Worst case, I won't join." I asked the president, "So if I want to join the club, what do I need to do?" "Join the club." Hearing these words, the president suddenly became excited. "Join which club?" "Our club." I was startled by the president's state. "Can't I join?" The president excitedly replied, "Of course you can." Before he could finish his sentence, he started coughing. Then he coughed up blood. "Don't be scared. Are you okay?" The president, wiping the blood he coughed up, said, "It's fine. It's fine. This happens when I get excited. It's normal." I was so scared my face turned pale. "Normal my foot." The president hastily wiped the blood off his face, picked up a pen, and started writing something. He asked me, "What's your name?" "I'll process your club entry now. I am Afalo. Tomorrow at 12:30 p.m., come to the address written on this form," he said while handing me the paper he had written on. I hesitantly took it. All right. The president of this club got so excited about me joining that he coughed up blood. Holding the address the club president gave me, I felt like I had gotten myself into something serious. But the next day, I still came as promised to this special magic research club. Looking at the dilapidated building in front of me, as shabby as the promotional tent, I wasn't quite sure. Should it be here? Are you sure this house isn't haunted? I had good reason to doubt. The windows of the house in front of me were all cracked. In the grass nearby, some unknown animals were scurrying about. It gave me a fright. I shouldn't have come to the wrong place, right? It feels even more rundown than Class F's classroom. It feels eerie. The door behind me opened with a creak. I quickly turned to look. I saw yesterday's president looking at me excitedly. "You actually came. That's great." As he spoke, tears started flowing. "I've been waiting for so long, I almost thought you wouldn't come." I was speechless. Wasn't there still 10 minutes until the agreed time? The president pushed me inside. Come, they're all waiting." As soon as I entered, I heard a bang. They even prepared party poppers for me. I saw the members inside applauding to welcome me. A banner hanging on the mottled wall read, "Warmly welcome the fourth member." "Fourth what?" I turned to ask the president. "The club doesn't just have 4 people, right?" The president proudly told me, "Yes, that's right." A strong sense of foreboding rose in my heart. There's no way out now. I've really fallen into a big pit. The president put his arm around my shoulder and solemnly told me, "Although we don't have many people, we're united." Is that so? I was a bit scared by this excessive enthusiasm. Another member beside me explained, "Don't mind Alua being too enthusiastic. After all, if our club can't recruit new members this year, we'll face the crisis of disbanding." "What? Disbanding?" Another member guided me to sit down and continued explaining. "The Academy's clubs need to recruit 1 new member each year. If no new members join for 3 consecutive years, the student council will consider the club to have no contribution, and it will be disbanded. The student council consists of the top 12 students of the year. Their authority is below the teachers but above the students. It's said that the first-ranked doesn't like to manage things, so currently, everything in the student council is handled by the second-ranked. But now that Afalo has joined, our club doesn't have to worry about being disbanded anymore. The legendary club conference is approaching. Hopefully, my joining will add some glory to our club." Just when I thought I could relax, another club member reminded us, "President Alua, we still have the club conference to deal with in 3 months." This sentence startled the president. He said, "Don't mention that now. We still have 3 months. We'll talk about it later." I was confused about what the club conference was. It's a showcase for all clubs to present their achievements to the teachers. The student council and teachers will allocate the year's club funding based on each club's performance. Our club always receives the least funding every year. That's also why the club has been unable to recruit new members for years. As soon as this was said, another club member immediately chimed in. These old fogies, how could they understand what we're researching? I felt a bit awkward. Actually, I didn't quite understand either. The president picked up a white porcelain cup and said to me, "Our club mainly researches the development and application of special magic. You'll understand in the future. Let me introduce myself. My name is Alua Babafais, president of the Special Magic Research Club." The other two members also introduced themselves to me. The blonde girl is called Ispo, and the blue-haired boy is called Gino. I also introduced myself to them. I'm Loros. Nice to meet you all. After finishing the club matters, I went to the club's resource room. The Special Magic Research Club, as the name suggests, is a club that researches special magic. This club has far more books on special magic than the library's collection. According to Gino, most of these books were brought by Alua from his own family. Alua possesses a unique magical ability on this continent. He can control the speed of time for a person. However, this special ability brings not only powerful magic, but also physical weakness. Alua often coughs up blood until he passes out. Although Alua always seems cheerful, he still can't escape this fate. This was also the reason he initially established the Special Magic Research Club. After putting the book back on the shelf, I sighed. Although there are many obscure magic books here, there's still no clues about the seal on my body. But I found many methods to repair book spirits. Recently, I've been able to faintly sense the presence of book spirits. I hope I can repair them quickly and break the seal soon. The academy trial is in half a month. The teacher said we can form teams freely. Who should I team up with? Life returned to normal after this. During a regular break, I was chatting comfortably with Mafala when we were interrupted by our homeroom teacher suddenly entering the classroom. We returned to our seats. Next, I have something very important to announce. Mafala and I looked at teacher Billy Porter with some surprise. We saw the teacher at the podium with an unusually serious expression. It made us all very nervous, not knowing what important matter it could be. That required teacher Billy Porter to be so serious. The teacher began, "Little ones, congratulations. The annual academy trial begins in half a month. For this academy trial, you'll form your own teams. Maximum of 4 people per team." After saying this, teacher Billy Porter smiled mischievously and said to us, "You have half a month. Use your time wisely." We were all scared by teacher Billy Porter's expression and took a sharp breath. Please don't smile like that. After the teacher left, everyone started discussing the team formation. Mafala grabbed my hand. "Afalo, free team formation. We could team up with our whole dorm now." I felt a bit sorry, but still opened my mouth to refuse. "Sorry, Mafala." Mafala was confused. "What's wrong?" I hesitated a bit and started to explain to Mafala. Actually, Before I could finish, Mafala suddenly had a look of realization. "Oh, I get it. You want to team up with Vedi." Although it was embarrassing to have my thoughts exposed like this, I didn't deny it. I coughed and said, "That's right, Mafala. I have something to do, so I'll go first." Mafala looked at me playfully. I know. Go find your Vedi quickly, before someone snatches him away." "There's no snatching or anything." After saying this, I quickly ran away in embarrassment. And Mafala, completely enjoying the show, shouted behind me, "Be brave, Afalo. Go for it, Afalo. Don't be afraid of difficulties." I ran away with a red face. This Mafala is really embarrassing me to death. Let's give our team a name. Let me think. What name should we choose? I hurriedly came to the vicinity of Vedi's class, looking around for Vedi. Because I was in such a hurry, I bumped into someone. Sorry. I was looking at something else just now. I apologized quickly while holding my aching head. The other person generously said, "It's okay. Are you all right?" This voice was too familiar. I looked up, and sure enough, it was Vedi. Why'd I always bump into this guy? Vedi was also a bit surprised to see me. I was about to speak when I heard Vedi say, "Oh right, Your Highness, I have something to tell you. I was just looking for you." What a coincidence. I also have something and was looking for you. I thought for a moment and said, "I think we want to talk about the same thing." So Vedi and I said in unison, "The academy trial. Let's team up." After successfully teaming up with Vedi, we went to the cafeteria for lunch together. I asked Vedi, now that we've formed a team, should we think of a team name? Vedi put down his tray and asked, does your highness have any good ideas? To be honest, I didn't have any ideas yet. I answered directly. Vedi said, not yet. Then he started eating and thinking. What should we call it? I was shocked after the first bite. Today's cream pasta is too delicious. Suddenly, an idea struck me. I suggested my idea to Vedi. Let's call it the cream pasta team. How about that? Vedi rubbed his chin. Sound good. Let's go with that. I said to myself, this pasta is really good. Just as I was about to continue enjoying my meal, I heard someone say, excuse me, beside me. My hand paused. I looked up and saw someone I didn't really want to see. It was Light. He asked, do you mind if we join your team? For some reason, looking at Light's face, I had a bad feeling. The cream pasta in my mouth didn't taste as delicious anymore. Light had a kind smile on his face. You guys? You mean Light and who else? Well, as expected, Emma suddenly jumped out from the side. It's us. She grabbed my hand excitedly and said, when I heard it was free team formation, the first person I thought of was Afalo, of course. I was startled by Emma's excessive enthusiasm. Is that so? Emma continued. On the way here, I ran into Light, so we came together. Seeing Emma like this, I couldn't refuse the protagonist for a moment. Emma sent me a team invitation. Damn, there's no way to refuse. Actually, I was internally against teaming up with Emma and Light, because according to novel tropes, trials with the protagonist always encounter danger. And when the protagonist faces danger, they're often protected by the male lead. As the evil female supporting character, I would surely die miserably. Thinking about this, I was already starting to feel scared. Help, how can I politely and thoughtfully refuse others? Seeing my expression wasn't good, Emma immediately looked upset. Am I making Afalo feel troubled? Seeing Emma like this, I almost instinctively responded, not at all. But in my heart, I thought, who dares to trouble the male lead? I explained to Emma, it's just that Vedi and I had already agreed. Besides, the four of us haven't trained together before. We might not be very coordinated. I thought saying this would make Emma and Light choose other teammates. But unexpectedly, Light's one sentence blocked my escape route. We're the top 3 in the academy after all. This shouldn't be difficult. Only then did I realize. Vedi is first in the grade, Light is second, Emma is third. And as the one at the bottom, I had even less grounds to refuse in this team, right? Emma continued to supplement Light's words. Afalo, do you remember what Father said to us before we left the palace? I weakly answered, Sister, protect ourselves. Sister, Emma grabbed my hand and said, besides protecting ourselves, there's also taking care of our only sister. So Afalo, you'll definitely join me, right? Damn it. When Emma was saying this, she started to sparkle again. There was no way to say any words of refusal. In the end, I agreed to let the protagonist join. Back in the dorm, the more I thought about it, the more frustrated I felt. Help, what should I do? I'm really freaking out. Am I not far from my death? I can only take it one step at a time. I hope nothing too unexpected will happen. My roommate wants to steal my skilled teammates. Well, that's not impossible. Night fell. Vedi and I started our extra training again. Although I've made great progress lately, I'm still far behind compared to Vedi. Vedi suddenly took a few steps back. I didn't understand what he was doing. He directly pointed out the problem. Your Highness seems distracted today. I felt a bit guilty. After all, he's spending time giving me extra lessons, and I wasn't fully focused on training. I quickly apologized to Vedi. Vedi expressed understanding and asked, is your Highness worried about the academy trial? I honestly replied, a little. Seeing my low spirits, Vedi patted my head and said, don't worry, I'll protect you. At that moment, I felt truly comforted. I looked at Vedi with a blushing face. Seeing me look at him like that, Vedi suddenly realized that his behavior just now seemed a bit inappropriate. I'm sorry. Seeing Vedi so flustered, I also felt a bit awkward. It's okay. Vedi didn't dare look at me. He just said, it's getting late. Your Highness should go back and rest. We could train again tomorrow. I also didn't dare to look directly at Vedi. After saying, okay, I hurriedly returned to the dorm. The next day, as soon as Professor Billyport announced the end of class, Lafala rested her head on her hand and said to me, we've all formed our teams. How about you? It's not just you and Vedi, right? I replied, how could that be possible? There's also Emma and Light. As soon as I finished speaking, I heard Mafala shout in surprise. What? The top 3 in the academy? are all in your team? You're guaranteed to win then. Mafala grabbed my shoulders and shook them frantically. Afalo, give me one of them. I want to feel what it's like to be surrounded by experts too. I wish I could. If you can convince any of them to go with you, then take them. Better yet, take the main characters away. After hearing this, Mafala seemed to lose her soul. She wobbled to a corner, repeatedly muttering, I don't have that ability. I don't have that ability. Seeing Mafala like this, I couldn't help but laugh. Why is this bracelet identical to the one from the fortune-telling shop? What exactly is the connection between Light and the fortune-telling shop? After saying goodbye to the resentful Mafala, I hurried off to training. Mafala watched my departing figure, nearly biting her fingers off. This show-off Afalo is so hateful. Vedi had been waiting at the door for a long time. The young man was growing rapidly. Vedi, standing at the door now, had an increasingly upright posture. I didn't expect Vedi to be waiting here so early. When I saw Vedi at the classroom door, I was also a bit stunned. Then I happily greeted my young man. Vedi. Vedi turned to look at me. His gaze was so gentle it could melt. He called me, Your Highness, and I asked him why he came so early. Have the others arrived? Vedi looked at me and replied, Nothing much. I just came early. The others haven't arrived yet. Would Your Highness like to practice a bit first? With Vedi looking at me like that, I felt a bit embarrassed. I lowered my head and said, They should be here soon. Let's turn on the simulator first. Yes, Your Highness. As I was waiting for Vedi to turn on the simulator, I heard Light call out, Prince Afalo, good morning. Light walked towards me. Although I was a bit intimidated by him, Light truly lived up to being the original male protagonist. His features were like a gift from the gods, especially those eyes, as if galaxies had fallen into them. He stood in front of me and asked, Haven't the others arrived yet? I replied that Vedi had gone to turn on the simulator. I turned my head to look in Vedi's direction, wondering if he had finished setting it up. I didn't expect the Academy to have this kind of training method similar to online games. It felt like going back to my previous life, playing with friends, fighting monsters, and running dungeons. I led Light towards Vedi. Since you're here too, let's go in first. Unexpectedly, Light said, Please wait a moment. He then started rummaging in his pocket. I looked at Light with confusion. He took out a bracelet from his pocket and handed it to me. I looked at the shiny object. It seemed so familiar. This bracelet looked just like the one from the fortune-telling shop. Light's gift. Was it genuine concern or ill-intentioned? Seeing that I didn't take the item he offered, Light continued, It's a gift for Your Highness. I was hesitant to accept Light's gift, so I shook my head. This is too precious. I can't accept it. Light held the bracelet and squeezed it a bit, explaining, You're overthinking it. This is a bracelet blessed by the Holy Temple. It can protect your safety during the trial. So it was something from the Holy Temple. But why was it identical to the jewelry that the boy at the fortune-telling shop wanted to give me back then? I hesitated for a moment, but still reached out my hand. Light said, Let me put it on for you. Just as the bracelet was about to be put on, Vedi suddenly pulled me into his arms and shouted, Not necessary. Light was startled by this unexpected turn of events. The bracelet in his hand accidentally fell to the ground. Vedi looked at Light vigilantly. I will protect His Highness well. Young Master Light need not worry. Light looked at Vedi with confusion. While bending down to pick up the bracelet from the ground, he explained to Vedi, You misunderstood. I just wanted to be more cautious. I wasn't questioning your ability. His words were very clever. In one stroke, he turned Vedi's urgent desire to protect me into Vedi being embarrassed and angry at having his abilities questioned. This made me feel that Vedi's behavior was a bit exaggerated. I called out, Vedi. Only then did Vedi realize he had been holding me all this time. He quickly let go of me. I'm sorry, Your Highness. Just as the three of us were in a standoff, Emma arrived. Oh my, what's going on here? Emma covered her mouth, expressing confusion at the scene before her. The atmosphere between Vedi and Light was terribly tense at this moment. Both were staring intently at each other, their eyes filled with daggers. Emma looked at me puzzled, asking what was going on. Faced with Emma's question, I felt a bit awkward and replied, I don't know either. Emma and I had never seen Vedi and Light like this before. The aura between the two of them was overwhelmingly strong at this moment. It felt quite frightening. Light was still holding that bracelet in his hand. He was frowning at Vedi, as if he might attack him at any second. Emma and I were nervously watching them. They were both top students at the academy. If they really started fighting, Emma, and I definitely couldn't stop them. Unexpectedly, Light just lightly patted the bracelet he had just picked up from the ground. He muttered, "Good thing it's not damaged. It would have been a shame if it broke." Seeing Light like this, Emma and I both sighed in relief. Fortunately, they didn't start fighting. Just because of whether I should accept a bracelet or not, two handsome guys almost got into a fight. Light composed himself and explained to us, "This bracelet has spatial magic added to it. It contains magic scrolls and other items. It can ensure the safety of both your highnesses." I stare at the bracelet in Light's hand. I noticed that the faint glow within the bracelet was somewhat unique. It was divine power. Light held up the bracelet and told us, "This is the wish of the church and His Majesty. If Prince Aphilo insists on not accepting it." The way Light put it, I had no choice but to accept this bracelet. After all, Light had even brought up my father, the Emperor. Vedi looked at me with concern, his words full of hesitation. "Your Highness, this bracelet." I thought for a moment. If I didn't accept it, it might be interpreted as me not trusting the church. It could potentially increase the rift between my father and the church. I uneasily reached out my hand, gesturing for Light to put the bracelet on me. Since it's father's wish, I'll accept it. Although I appeared calm, I was actually very anxious inside. Even though it felt a bit ominous, it was better not to go against the church for now. Vedi seemed very reluctant to let me accept this bracelet. He murmured my name. I looked at Vedi. I gently shook my head at him, indicating that he shouldn't interfere anymore. Seeing my gesture, Vedi gave me a slight bow, showing that he understood. Looking at the bracelet in Light's hand that was about to be put on me, I felt very uneasy. A strong, ominous premonition welled up in my heart. I turned to Emma and said, "Why don't we let Emma keep the bracelet? It's not safe with me." However, as soon as I finished speaking, I heard a click. Light had already put the bracelet on my wrist. I was startled. I looked at the bracelet on my hand, a bit confused. Why was Light in such a hurry to have me wear this bracelet? I tried to pull on the bracelet, but it turned out that once it was on, it couldn't be taken off. Seeing this, Vedi became agitated again. He glared at Light and asked fiercely, "What's going on?" I didn't know what my sister was secretly plotting with the Holy Temple. Was this bracelet from Light really out of concern for my father? Light remained calm and said nonchalantly, "To prevent loss, the church has imbued the bracelet with divine power. Once worn, it can only be used by your Highness." Light's words seemed to explain Vedi's question, but he still didn't address why even I couldn't take it off. Light looked at Emma and said, "Princess Emma has one too." Emma was a bit surprised. She pointed at herself and asked. I thought for a moment and pulled out the necklace from my neck. "Ah, is it this?" Light answered yes. Emma suddenly looked as if she was surrounded by happiness. I didn't know it was father's intention. Seeing Emma's happy expression, I couldn't help but feel happy for her too. But when I saw the necklace around Emma's neck, I was startled. Wasn't this exactly the same as the necklace from the fortune-telling shop earlier? But since Emma had one too, there shouldn't be any problem, right? Just that the necklace seemed a bit different from that time. This Light was indeed related to fortune-telling. What exactly were they planning? Could I really trust them? Vedi looked at the bracelet on my hand, his face full of worry. For some reason, that bracelet was particularly eye-catching to Vedi. No matter how he looked at it, it bothered him. Seeing my serious expression, Vedi patted my shoulder and softly said, "Don't worry. I'll find a way." Looking at Vedi, I felt much more at ease in an instant. I said to Vedi, "Okay, I trust you." While I was talking to Vedi, Emma also discreetly asked Light a question. Light responded with a success. Emma then came forward and linked her arm with mine. "Aphilo, let's go in." I was startled by Emma's sudden action. "Ah, okay." Vedi let out a soft sigh. He followed behind Emma and me, slowly walking towards the training area. Light behind us didn't rush to catch up with us. Instead, at the window, he held up a paper crane imbued with divine power. The paper crane flapped its wings in front of Light's eyes. After we called out to Light, it hurriedly flew out of the window. Light watched the paper crane fly away, then quickly caught up with us. This training is really exhausting. After everything was prepared, we entered the simulation system for training. The first simulated scenario was to defeat the magic beast roaring boar. The difficulty level was 3 stars. We quickly entered battle mode. It was our first time doing this simulation training. Facing this roaring boar with a mouth full of tusks, we were still a bit nervous. I asked if everyone was ready. Seeing Emma and Light nod, I shouted, "Then let's begin." As soon as I finished speaking, everyone charged forward and engaged in battle with the roaring boar. After the training ended, I collapsed on the ground, exhausted. It's finally over. but the other three seemed unaffected and were still reviewing the battle. Vedi said, "Princess Emma's final strike was too weak." Emma replied, "Vedi, Aphilo was still in front of the beast. I was afraid of hurting Aphilo." Vedi then said, "I cast a protection spell on His Highness beside me. He wouldn't have been hurt." Light pondered for a moment and said the coordination still wasn't good enough. So they all said to me in unison, "Aphilo, let's do it one more time." I immediately got up from the ground. "What? Again? Please spare me." When I stood up, I felt terrible all over. I was swaying with every couple of steps. Seeing me like this, Emma quickly came over to check on me. "Are you all right, Aphilo?" I immediately put on a show of being in good spirits. "I'm fine, I'm great. I have no problem." Emma clapped her hands happily. "That's great. Then after we go back, I'll summarize everyone's shortcomings from today's training. Let's work hard together again tomorrow." Hearing this, I nearly coughed up blood. Why so intense? Can't we rest for a day? In the fulfilling training, a day passed quickly. The sky soon darkened. I waved to Emma. "Good job, Emma. See you tomorrow." Emma happily said goodbye to me. "See you tomorrow." After they walked away, Vedi slightly lowered his head beside me. "Your Highness," I asked Vedi to keep an eye on Light before the training, to see if there was anything unusual about Light. When Vedi just called me, I understood his meaning. I asked him how it went. "Did you find anything?" My teammate seemed to be hiding many things from me. What exactly was his purpose? After the training ended, when Emma and Light had walked far away, I asked Vedi if he had discovered any clues. But Vedi told me he couldn't find any suspicious points. I rubbed my chin. So it was like this. Vedi also pondered for a moment. If it really was the same person, it meant this person was extremely good at hiding. They wouldn't easily reveal any flaws. Actually, I had been suspicious of Light from the first time I saw him. It's just that he didn't show any traces. But the bracelet that appeared today, with the same style as the fortune-telling shop, made it hard to believe there wasn't something going on. Thinking about this bracelet, Aphilo started to cry, and this bracelet couldn't be taken off. Light's image floated in my mind. He had just been constantly reminding me to keep the bracelet safe until the trial ended. "Please, I can't even take it off. It's hard not to keep it safe." Well, thinking of this, I suddenly knelt on the ground. Unexpectedly, Vedi's large hand directly placed on my head, gently patting it. I looked at Vedi with some confusion. Vedi smiled gently. "If you can't figure it out, don't think about it. Now, worry more about the Academy trial." I stared at Vedi, my mouth open, but not knowing what to say. After thinking for a while, I felt that what Vedi said made sense. "That's right. Let's get through this first. We'll deal with the bracelet issue with Light after the trial ends." On the way back, Vedi and I walked on the small path in the campus. The sunlight was soft, creating a warm yellow Tyndall effect through the lush leaves by the road. As we walked, Vedi said to me, "Your Highness, you can use magic during battles. It will be easier that way." "No, this is my trump card. I can't reveal it easily. Vedi, you must keep it a secret for me, since your Highness says so, as you command." Time passed quickly. The half-month training soon came to an end. We quickly arrived at the day of the Academy trial. The entrance to the trial was crowded with people. I exclaimed, "So many people!" Vedi quickly shielded me. "Your Highness, be careful." The Academy trial was finally about to begin. After half a month of training, will we be able to complete this test? Soon, Emma and Light also arrived at the team gathering spot. Emma happily waved at me and then walked over. The principal coughed on the high platform, drawing our attention. Our focus was immediately drawn to the principal. We saw the principal standing on the high tower to speak. "Good morning, my dear students." Looking at the principal's old yet upright figure, I felt a bit nervous. Is it finally starting? The principal extended his hand towards the trial forest. The 32nd Academy trial now begins. With the principal's command, students began to walk towards the entrance one after another. I was completely stiff in the crowd. The Academy's first trial was about to start. I still felt a bit nervous. At this moment, Light came to my side. "Your Highness, don't worry. Once we're inside, I'll protect you well." Seeing Light like this, I didn't feel reassured at all. I only felt more panicked. Fortunately, Vedi came. However, his expression didn't look good. He directly blocked between Light and me, saying coldly, "Your Highness, my protection is enough." Light smiled awkwardly. "Isn't more protection better?" Vedi's face darkened. He said to Light, "Both their Highnesses need protection." "Lord Light, why don't you care about Her Highness Emma?" Seeing the atmosphere between these two getting more and more tense, I panicked and quickly tried to calm them down. Emma also stated, "Actually, I can protect myself." Soon, we followed the crowd to the entrance of the Academy trial. The administrator at the entrance welcomed us. Each team had a corresponding teleportation array. We just needed to stand on it, and we would be randomly teleported into the trial map. Just as we were about to enter the teleportation array, a warm hand grasped mine. I looked over in surprise. It was Vedi. He seemed a bit shy, not daring to look at me. He just said it was to avoid getting separated. I smiled. I held Vedi's hand tighter. Okay, to avoid getting separated. The trial begins. But I unexpectedly got separated from the team. What should I do next? After giving myself a pep talk, I finally stepped onto the teleportation array. The administrator asked for our team name and member names. I felt a bit embarrassed. Somewhat shamefully, I said, Team Cream Pasta. Then everyone reported their names. Ima Gloria Uros, Bak Light, Bivicious, Vidi Eusebio, Afalo Lauros. For some reason, when I finished reporting my name, the administrator paused while taking notes and asked, You're Afalo? I was a bit confused. I poked my head out. Yes, it's me. Is something wrong, teacher? The administrator lowered his head and continued recording. Nothing. The magic teleportation process might cause dizziness. It's normal, don't panic. Are you ready then? As soon as the administrator finished speaking, a serious atmosphere instantly filled everyone. Everyone stood up straighter. We're ready. Suddenly, the array beneath our feet emitted a strong light. In the dazzling magical light, I vaguely saw the administrator's face darken. I was startled. Then, I was blinded by a strong light and couldn't open my eyes. Before I could react, we were successfully teleported away. On the array, our figures were no longer visible. When I opened my eyes again, we were already in the trial forest. For some reason, the trial forest was different from its usual brightness, becoming extremely dark. Something fell off. Looking around, the forest was terrifyingly quiet. My heart sank. I suddenly realized I was alone here. I couldn't find any of my teammates. Meanwhile, Emma and the others were also teleported to their destination. Emma asked if they had arrived. Vedi didn't answer Emma. Instead, he exclaimed, Your Highness, Afalo is missing. Vedi turned to look at Emma. Emma covered her mouth in surprise. The communication crystal? Have you tried contacting? Light immediately replied, No response. Vedi was about to leave the team. I'm going to find Her Highness. Emma quickly followed, saying, Let's go together. But Light said, The area is so large. Let's split up to search. Vedi, with a dark face, gritted his teeth and said, The church. Light asked, What's wrong? Vedi's gaze was sharp. Doesn't the church have any search or location magic? Light glanced at Vedi sideways. I am sorry. Not without the fortune-telling shop. Why would the mysterious boy appear in the trial forest? What exactly is his relationship with Light? Emma quickly intervened. Now is not the time for you two to argue. Let's find Afalo quickly. If Afalo is alone and encounters other teams, or something else. Emma's face looked very troubled at this moment. It wasn't clear if she was worried about Afalo or that something else. She seemed to know what Afalo might encounter. This made Vedi very uneasy. The three immediately decided to split up to search for Afalo. Emma pointed to the communication crystal in her hand. After finding Afalo, remember to contact Vedi and Light. They both responded with a Emma. Vedi decisively turned and left, starting to search for Afalo. In his heart, he thought, Your Highness, wait for me. The jungle constantly made rustling sounds. Afalo was now alone in the dark forest, searching for everyone, terribly scared. After walking for a long time, she finally gave up and sighed heavily. I've walked for half a day and haven't met Vedi and the others. I did encounter people from other teams. Luckily, I hid in time. I can't fight 4 people alone. For some reason, the communication crystal was damaged during the teleportation. Now I can't contact anyone. What should I do now? Just as I was thinking about these things, a boy's voice came from behind. What are you thinking about? So lost in thought, I was startled. This voice sounded a bit like Light. I quickly turned my head to look. A boy was sitting in a tree, looking at me. He looked very much like Light, but I recognized him. This was the fortune teller from the fortune-telling shop. He jumped down from the tree in one swift motion. Standing in front of me, he extended his hand and said it had been a long time. Your Highness, he looked so much like Light. Rather than saying they looked alike, it would be more accurate to say they were almost identical. I tentatively said, Light, but he didn't seem to recognize that name. Light suddenly came closer to me. Your Highness seems to have mistaken me for someone else. How heartbreaking. I couldn't accept his sudden closeness. I stepped back several paces and cautiously asked, How are you here? He answered leisurely, Because the stars told me you were in danger. The boy's gaze was gentle, yet exuded an endless sense of danger. I stepped back in fear. Danger? What danger? This boy who looked so much like Light said, I will be in danger, so I found you. I looked into the fortune teller's eyes, feeling uneasy. What danger? The boy in front of me smiled and said something darkly that I couldn't understand. For example, right now, I'm curious about what he'll say next. As a result, this idiot said, for example, right now you're lost. So annoying, what was he saying? Nonsense. He suddenly reached out his hand to me. He gently said, I'll take you out of here. I frowned at his outstretched hand. After pondering for a moment, I turned and walked away. The fortune teller withdrew his hand, seemingly dejected. I called out, didn't you say you'd take me out of here? He looked at me with surprise, realizing that when I walked away just now, he thought I was rejecting him. Seeing him not moving, I asked again, why are you standing there dazed? The boy then smiled and said, coming, and followed me. I walked with the fortune teller for a while. As we walked, I said, an Austin Academy is known as the training ground for nobles and royalty. Mr. Fortune Teller, are you also from a royal or noble family? The boy turned to look at me. I looked at his face and still understood. Although the two looked almost identical, their personalities were worlds apart. Were they really different, or was one just pretending too well? The fortune teller thought for a moment and answered my question. While most students in the academy come from noble or royal families, there are also a few exceptionally talented commoners, right? Come to think of it, that's true. Just like how every academy would have some special students, Mary was one of them. I asked, but I've never seen you in class, Mr. Fortune Teller. He smiled and replied, that's because my classroom is different from yours. I scratched my cheek and said, we've talked for so long, but I still don't know your name. He didn't tell me his name. Instead, he said, my name isn't important. What's important is your name. His face suddenly turned strange. He called out my name, Flora. The moment his words fell, the bracelet on my hand suddenly floated upwards and emitted a strong light. I looked at the bracelet on my hand in surprise, then was startled by the movement beneath my feet. The ground under my feet suddenly began to shake and many cracks appeared. Before I could react, I fell down into the ground. My body kept falling. I looked at the fortune teller in disbelief. He didn't show much surprise, nor did he try to save me. Instead, he just stood there, watching me fall bit by bit. Was it intentional? This fortune teller, who looked so much like light, was he deliberately harming me? My eyes were filled with fear, but the boy in front of me seemed oblivious. As the golden light from the underground pit faded, I disappeared into the trial forest. The boy smiled lightly, looking at the large pit before him, lost in thought. Soon after, scattered sounds came from behind the fortune teller. It seemed someone had walked up behind him. He turned to look and saw Emma holding her staff. Emma clearly hadn't just arrived. She must have been hiding and watching for a long time, but didn't intervene to save Aphilo. Her expression was gloomy, yet with a hint of reluctance. Meanwhile, at the palace, my father, the emperor, was handling state affairs as usual. The gold-inlaid, jeweled brush in his hand suddenly, without warning, burned a small notch. In an instant, the emperor realized Aphilo was in danger. This brush was specially enchanted with magic connected to Aphilo. Because this brush was the object he used most often in daily life, he would immediately sense any unusual activity from Aphilo. The emperor immediately summoned the butler, Neil. Soon after, a servant announced, Your Majesty, Lord Tamaniel has arrived. The man's voice was ice-cold as he said, Let him in. Butler Neil bowed respectfully upon seeing the emperor. The emperor, however, was very polite to Neil. He stood up, supporting himself on the desk. He instructed Neil, sit down and let's talk. The emperor sat down on the sofa. A servant brought tea to his side. For some reason, the usually violent emperor was gentle when facing Neil. I called you here to ask about Aphilo's recent situation at the academy, the emperor said. Neil answered truthfully, everything is going well. The academy trials have just begun. The emperor picked up his tea, looked at Neil, and said, I remember during Nefana's academy trials, you led the team with Nefana Morius. They took first place. Although Neil didn't understand why the emperor suddenly brought this up, he respectfully replied, It was just luck. I didn't expect your majesty to care about juniors from a few years below you at that time. Hearing this, the emperor suddenly remembered his younger days at the academy, secretly inquiring about Nefana's news. He smiled and said to Neil, Your family is still as low-key as ever. Arrange for us to visit the academy together. Neil was clearly startled by the emperor's sudden interest. Now, the emperor's voice was low. Now the princess is in danger, and the emperor who dotes on her happens to arrive. Will he be able to save his beloved daughter? After falling into the trap, Aphilo kept falling continuously. It seemed as if there was a bottomless abyss below. Suddenly, a golden magic circle appeared beneath her, gently lowering the unconscious Aphilo to the ground. After an unknown amount of time, Aphilo finally jolted awake. Looking at the scene before her, Aphilo was also startled. This place looked a bit like the desert city from her previous life. But Aphilo knew that in the world after the transition, there were no known desert-type places. After a moment, Aphilo struggled to stand up. For some reason, despite falling from such a height, she had no injuries except for some soreness in her body. Could it be that the golden magic circle from earlier protected me? Aphilo calmed down and began to recall what had just happened. She remembered that when the trap was triggered, the bracelet had glowed briefly. This bracelet was given by light. Could it be that the fortune teller and light conspired to harm me? Or was that fortune teller actually light? For some reason, just thinking about these things, her temples started throbbing with pain. Aphilo rubbed them and decided not to think about it for now. She tugged at the bracelet on her wrist, but it was still firmly attached. Aphilo began to panic. How on earth could she take it off? Suddenly, there was a rustling sound nearby. Aphilo quickly looked over and saw a strange creature with ears running towards her at high speed. As it got closer, Aphilo could see it was a bronze-skinned, sturdy young man with cat ears. The young man stopped in front of Aphilo, grabbed her shoulders, and nervously shouted, "Beautiful lady, save me." Before Aphilo could react to the situation, she saw a group of murderous-looking half-beasts chasing after the young man. Aphilo's eyes widened instantly. So many people, how could she save him? This big brother was expecting too much of her. Did he expect her to fight all these people alone to save him?